Hello.
Hello.
Good
It's
evening, Ms.
Margie,
Carter.
Miss Chen.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Marge. We have a couple more minutes.
You there?
I have to step out for a minute. I'll be back.
Where is? There you are. You can click on that. There's a screen. There's a slider.
Okay, if you're not a part of the council, please mute yourselves. Tonight, I won't have a problem with muting you permanently. Thank you. Hi, Ms. Carter, are you back? No. Mr. Hoffman, can you put yourself on mute?
Yes.
We're waiting for Ms. Carter, Mr. Bridges.
Okay, thank you, Council President.
I'm back.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being called to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given. Ms. Carter, is that you with the background noise?
No, ma'am.
Well, I need IT to do their job this evening and look the sources up and mute them. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, filed in the city clerk's office, and posted on the City of Trenton website. Formal action will be taken. Roll call, Ms. Carter.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Present.
Councilman Harrison,
Present.
Councilman Michelle,
Present.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Present.
Councilwoman Vaughn, Councilwoman Wilkins,
Present.
Council President McBride,
Present.
Mr. Kaloji,
Present.
Mr. Cruz,
Present. Good evening, everyone.
Mr. Cherry,
I'm present. Good evening.
Mr. Liston,
Present.
Mr. Bridges,
Present.
Mr. Wilson,
Present.
Mr. Douglas,
Present. Good evening.
Mr. Daniels, Dr. Lopez,
Good evening, I'm present.
Mr. Onateri,
Good evening, President.
Ms. Richardson,
Good evening, I am present.
Mr. Lavenberg,
Present.
Mr. Zelensky,
Present.
Councilwoman Vaughn, Mr. Douglas. Okay,
There's no one here representing the Housing and Economic Development? Ms. Carter, we do have Mr. Hoffman. He's here on the line with us, and Mr. Valente. They will both. Mr. Hoffman is our redevelopment attorney, and he will be weighing in on the presentation this evening, and also he will be having a discussion with us in the executive session. So good evening, all. Ms. Carter, you may continue with the invocation and the flag salute.
okay. Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of the community and thy greater glory. Amen.
Amen.
We have a motion.
So moved.
So
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn, Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
yes.
Was carried. Go over this. Join the room.
Why is Miss Labat in this meeting?
We're still in the same meeting, but I don't think we concluded this yet.
Hi, John. Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
I think you have to go into the executive session. This is Sally Samuel. How are you?
Okay. I'm
Yeah, I
not sure.
think you're still in the regular meeting. You have to access the executive session link.
How do I do that?
You don't know how to do, okay. Okay, let me contact Wes and see if he can send you the executive session link.
I think we have it.
Wait a minute.
I have to come. Yes? Look at your mute. Decide if you want to be on or off.
Okay.
So, Ms. Carter, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you call the roll?
Just 1 minute. What's the thing? Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Present.
Councilman Harrison,
Present.
Councilman Michelle,
Present.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Present.
Councilwoman Vaughn, Councilwoman Wilkins,
Present.
Council President McBride.
Present. There was a few housekeeping items before we get started. So the first housekeeping item is based on the press release that went out today and yesterday. Mayor Gusiora is again being very, very disingenuous and to the point that he's giving out false information to the public. On Tuesday night's meeting, the acting clerk, which is Ms. Penelope Carter, stated on the record that she had went to Mr. Siegel to schedule went to the health department to schedule the health meeting, the Board of Health meetings, and she had moved to schedule the ABC meeting for Tuesday, the 21st of June, our regular scheduled ABC board meeting. She had also begun to take the application for all the city businesses, liquor stores included. Yesterday, a press conference went out about the city was going to be dry, this and that and that and the third. It's disingenuous to put out false information. And then today, you put out a press release saying you want a special meeting. What special meeting? Under the law, the statutory duty for the ABC board is the council and the clerk's office. Mrs. Carter had already advertised for that meeting. And to say that you're calling a special meeting for a meeting that's already been put on the schedule is not only disingenuous, but it borderlines fraudulent, because you're giving the public and everyone in our community false information, and it's unacceptable. And the second part of business that I would like to discuss is, again, the mayor stepped out of his bounds and he put out RFPs for the rolling block 2. He doesn't have the discretion to do that. That role is the council's role. And so since he had put out the RFPs for the rolling block, it was 5 responders, five bidders responded. And so 5 developers, I should say, responded. And so what I did, because we are the redevelopment authority, I was bringing all of the bidders in front of the public with the council to let them do a presentation. All 5 of the bidders are going to be allowed to come to this council and do their presentation to the public and this body. All we're going to be doing here is looking, observing, and taking notes. And we are going to get the other 4 bidders, because we invited 2, only 1 responded, and we will be sending out invites for the other developers. So tonight, after Councilman Rodriguez speak, we'll hear a presentation. I think this group is called the CIG group. I don't have their company name in front of me, but they can correct me when they come to do their presentation. So now we're going to hear from our council member, Councilman Rodriguez. This is his last official meeting under his term, and we would like him to say a few words to the public and to his colleagues.
As I promised, effective the 30th of this month, I will be retiring. My term, I ran for 4 years. It ends the 30th of June. And since I ran for 4 years, I am leaving. I am going to be leaving the city, not forgetting about Trenton, because Trenton is my city. I have been here longer than most of you. Before a lot of you were born, I was already in Trenton back in 1970, and I have feelings about Trenton. I came back to Trenton and I ran for council because I was hoping that we were going to elect the right person to be our leader in the city and the right council. Partially, I do not have many regrets about what council have done. Yes, because we have done a lot, although, well, there's the dog barking there. We have done a lot. under the circumstances. For the first year, my first year, I was supporting the mayor 100%. I was behind the mayor in every press conference. He used to call me at 9 o'clock in the morning saying, I have a press conference at 10 o'clock or 9:30. I said, well, you should have let me know a little earlier, but I'll be there. And I was there. When he mentioned, sitting in front of city council, that he was going to call for a forensic audit of the whole city because the numbers weren't matching, I stood up and I applauded him. That's my hero. That's what I want, because we have had too much corruption in this city for the past at least 40 years, at least 40 years. And I remember because I was in Trenton when that happened. And but after that, I don't know what happened. Our mayor never mentioned that forensic audit again. Jesus Christ, what's going on? Then since started changing these bond issues of a lot of bonds, wanting to sell a supermarket in the West Ward for $8.5 million when the person that bought it, Mr. Trujillo, paid $350,000. You know, a lot of crazy things, you know, patronage, a lot of contracts for friends, hiring relative of directors, you know, and then I got frustrated. I said, no, this is wrong. Then they came up with that. The first blow was the budget. After we spent weeks going over the budget, the first budget that we dealt with, it was sent to DCA. That budget was thrown into the garbage, and the mayor's budget was approved. At that time, I said, well, and what are we doing? Why we have to waste time, make the directors waste time in budget hearings when we are not going to, when DCA is going to go with the mayor because he is one of the top Democrats in the county and whatever, you know, and, you know, they have to go by whatever he says. I got frustrated in that. And what I started was trying to get together little resolutions. The first one was, my first biggest fight was getting an attorney for council. Because when we started, the law director that we had was supposed to be representing us also, 50% administration, 50% council, but he was 99.9% administration and 0.1% council when he first like. He lied to us, gave us wrong information, especially about MPS all the time, gave us wrong information all the time. So I suggested that we should hire our own attorney. It was tough. Marsh Carver told me, we tried that in the past, and it didn't go through. I said, Marsh, you know, I don't take no for an answer. I'm a fighter. We need an attorney. And after a long time, we got Mr. Ecology. And I'm glad that we had Mr. Ecology because I was able, with him, he helped me with a lot of resolutions that we passed. And there were a lot of them were unanimously passed through council. These people from Trenton Orbit, they should go into Trenton 360 and find out the resolutions that I sponsor and the ones that I voted for. You know, they are there. They are there. You know, but then we started when the elections were changed to November, which was a fair thing. I was 100% for it because in May, the last elections during the runoff, only 8,000 people out of 40-some thousand that were registered to vote, 8,000 people went out to vote. That's not a democratic process. In November, we usually get 16,000, 15, 16, 17,000 because we have other either congressional or Senate races, and more people go to vote. So it's better to have it in November. After that was approved, council was accused, and including me, of oh, they want to extend this election for 6 more months so they could milk the city. This Do Nothing Council is extending the election so they could extend their term. I told them, not me, not me. That's why, effective the 30th of June, I will be retiring. I have an autistic grandson. He's settled in Florida. I bought him a house, pay cash for it, George Moschar. I pay cash for it out of my savings. And this is where I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to be in Florida with my grandson, helping him out. I believe that he needs me more than Trenton. We have plenty qualified people in Trenton to run the city. We have, right now, we have excellent people in council, and we have to pick the right ones to run for council. But we need the right mayor. We need leadership in Trenton. You know, I wish I had the time to continue, yes, because I would have done that, because I love Trenton. But I am not going to be gone. I'm not going to die yet. So I hopefully Ms. Carter will send me the link so I could be part of the public during those meetings, so I could talk about. I'm not going to be like Mr. Garrett, you know, but I will talk about certain resolutions that I find crazy. I'm going to talk against them. Yes, I will. You know, so I'm not going to be out. I'm going to be participating in every meeting as I did through my 4 years. I believe the only time that I missed one meeting was the meeting when I was in a plane about 2 months ago. At the time, they accused me of abandoning the city, moving out, trying to vote illegally, all that stuff that came up, you know. They were trying to deviate these issues about the subpoenas because they knew that the subpoenas were coming and their names were involved in those subpoenas. So they were trying to deviate, create confusion among the public. So, oh, Santiago Rodriguez is voted illegally. He sold his house. No, I didn't sell I was in the process. Yes, I had a contract. Finally, I sold it, George Moschar, and I made a good profit on it. And with that good profit, I bought cash. I have 2 properties in Florida now. One for my daughter and my grandson, and one for me. George Moschar, $300 and some thousand I paid, and those were my life savings. I didn't get a penny from LLCs, from contractors, from anybody. So all I have to say, my Trenton residents, is fight. Get involved. Get involved. You know, don't let a rubber stamp council come up. No, because we are not. People hate us because we are not. We are independent. Most of it. Some of us. At least we have 4 and sometimes 5 that we vote our minds. We don't vote what comes from the mayor unless it's good for the city. But since the majority of the stuff that have come from the mayor in the last 4 years have been crazy stuff for his friends, that's why I have opposed that. If it's against the city, I'm going to oppose anything that is against the city, regardless of who the mayor is, regardless of that. And I hope that continues. And I have to applaud, and I have right in front of me Sonia Wilkins. I am glad that I recommended her for city council. Hopefully, make a decision to make her the vice president for the rest of the term. And she's going to get elected, and she should be our next council president. Thank you very much. And you will hear about me. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Councilman. Now we're going to, Ms. Carter, we're going to hear from the presentator, and Mr. Hoffman is here so that any council member that would like to ask him any questions after you hear the presentation. But I would like for you to keep in mind, this is just a presentation for you to take notes. We're going to have 4 more developers come in front of us. So just get your pens out and be prepared to take notes. Ms. Carter, would you introduce the presenters, please?
I can help you out there.
Redevelopment presentation, CIG Partners Limited, Rudolph A. Palumbi Esquire, and representing Lance Goldman and Spitzer, John Hoffman Esquire.
Okay, so as you do your presentation, please identify yourself and tell us what role you have with the redevelopment.
I will
Who's coming
begin.
on?
Can you hear me? This is Rudolph
Yes,
Palumbi, the attorney.
Yes, we can. Identify yourself and state your role.
Yes, Rudolph A. Palumbi Jr. I am the attorney for the entity that we have dubbed RB2 Renew for Roebling Block 2 Renew. They are the team of developer responders to the RFP, and they have very good news for this city. I'm not going to be the presenter. I'm just going to give you a nutshell. The next presenter will be an integral partner, very much involved, named Kyle Barnett, who will go through each of the highlights, knowing that the response that we gave was reviewed by all, and that we will touch on the highlights and address any questions you have. The team is available remotely. They're listening. And the bottom line is the mission of RB2 Renew, as it's going to be known, is to really bring life back to the Roebling 2 project. That was one time the robust deliverer of economic prosperity when there were jobs and there were products and services that were delivered and exported, all in the nature of bridge steel. What this group proposes as part of a solution and to create economic prosperity is to actually bring the companies with the technologies, different technologies than the bridge steel. These are all going to be clean, they're going to be green, they're going to be sustainable, and they're not going to cause the pollution of the days, but it will develop jobs. Serious jobs where people will be trained and they could move up the ladder, their wages raising as the star of their status in the company does. This will create products and services that will be relevant to be distributed from the great logistic area that Trenton is. This is the principal goal. It will bring that center back to exuberance, to its day when it was an important generator of financial prosperity. This will simply be a 21st century type delivery of products and services, but all that have longevity. So Kyle Barnett, who is going to delve into greater detail as counsel may need, is a very accomplished individual, a very important part of our team with access to resources at every level that benefit this organization. And he too is embraced the ideas of ESG, of sustainability, of clean. The businesses with which he has been involved all demonstrate those great values. So with the idea of, yes,
he has 20 minutes. They have 20 minutes to make their presentation.
Okay, with that, I'm handing the mic to Kyle. Mr. Barnett. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Rudy. And I want to thank the City Council and President McBride. We appreciate you having us here and appreciate the ability to present this project. Just to start, New Jersey as a state and Trenton as a city is meaningful to almost all of the members of our group. We have long and extensive family ties, respectively, to the state and the city. So the story of Trenton is a very important one to us. That said, our project, as you know, on the Roebling Block 2 site, which we're well aware that the goals of the City Council and the city administration at large are economic development that can create job growth. And what Roebling represented when Trenton makes the world takes really meant something was jobs, 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 and innovative industry. And that said, this Roebling site.
Someone needs to shut off their mic.
Yeah, sorry, it's difficult. I'm not sure who. Oh, there we go. Thank you. as we look at the Roebling Block 2 site, it presents a really unique opportunity to use that historic building and infrastructure in the heart of the city to create a 21st century economic engine in the city focused on jobs, 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 which is the basis for our development and our plan moving forward. We've seen lots of big construction, a surge in buildings all around the state and Trenton, big buildings, 1 million square feet, 500,000 square feet, but they're not really able to interface the infrastructure in Trenton because we're lacking the inventory and the large tracts of land needed to move trucks and incentivize these businesses in the city. In particular, during the pandemic, we really have seen that the supply chain challenges, the broken supply chain, really re-emphasize how important the rebuilding of a strong manufacturing sector is in the U.S., and where better of a story to grow that again than in Trenton. So, you know, just as an introduction, our proposal really responds to a reversal of a wide-scale movement of jobs leaving the country, manufacturing, leaving the United States, a lot of that going into Asia. What we're doing and the tenets of our project are bringing that manufacturing back. And we currently represent and have LOIs from manufacturers ready to occupy the site from Asia, bringing technology that we will be able to build, develop in Trenton, and move throughout the United States. And looking at Roebling particularly as a site, all of those reasons above make that just an ideal spot for us to be able to develop this this center. The ceiling heights, the activity there, the workforce that we know is in the area in need of employment, and upwardly mobile employment, high-paying jobs, are all things that we can bring into what would ultimately be, in our vision, a self-contained urban industrial campus in the beating heart of Trenton. We have a development team that's comprised of experienced developers that have done projects in the state and in the city or close to the city and in and around New Jersey for many years, large development. So we have a very successful track record of getting projects done. And in that, you know, the technologies that we're bringing are surefire job creators married with our ability to be able to execute projects. So in that, I want to be able to introduce some of the core members of our team as well that can answer, that can further address some of these points. And Tom Four, are you on? So actually, our developer from SOAR Development is joining. He had to come off during the delay, but he'll be back on. So I want to introduce Daniel Lee. And Daniel Lee, who is a part of CIG, and you had referenced CIG in our intro. CIG is a partner company of ours and is essential in the facilitation of the funding that we're utilizing to be able to build this development. So Daniel Lee, I'd like to turn it over to you to give a short overview of your participation and involvement with the project.
Thank you, Kyle. Can you hear me, Kyle?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to have opportunity to share some of our expertise and also the exciting plan to relocating two Korean company with the Trenton project. So we actually provide company informations because of a timing issue. I will emphasize on two things. Over 20 years experience, I facilitate over 500 million to United States, 2 public-private partnership, and 3 other manufacturing projects. In terms of manufacturing project, I facilitate the fund for Georgia-based company, that's automotive companies. So at this time, you know, I'm not only facilitating fund for Loveling Center 2 project, and also we're facilitating investment for 2 company, helping them to relocate in United States. So over the 20 years, I learned that, you know, there's a good opportunity in United States. So the 2 Korean company has a value-added product, but they have a barrier in terms of logistic. The idea we're trying to set up company here because we're overwhelming by all high logistic cost. So having a right manufacturing facility in Trenton, that's you know, we have a competitiveness, and so we can produce a product, manufacture product here, distributing to United market. That's our goal. So in terms of EV5, it's employment-based 5th category. This is alternative fund. In order to facilitate the fund and we have a compliance, we need to create job. So both 2 projects require a number of jobs. I have done research with the 7 company in New Jersey. Minimum wage is higher than market demands a lot of jobs these days. So $16, $18 we're thinking of. So so today our goal is that we have a funding capacity to you know, revitalize the Loveling Center 2 projects, and also we're trying to relocate 2 company into that light manufacturing facilities. We're expecting delegation the end of July. They want to visit the site and they want to know more about Trenton. So we already explained them that New Jersey and Trenton is well located infrastructure-wise, logistic-wise. So we're excited about you know, involving in this project. If you have any questions, I can answer questions.
Thank you, Daniel. And before we get to questions, just to cover some of the highlights of the proposal which you've read, our project is looking during the construction phase of the project to create between 100 to 200 to 150 jobs, and that's just in the construction phase. Upon completion, our conservative job estimates are 400 to 500 jobs. That again will be meaningful jobs and calling for employment inside of the city of Trenton. So that's a very important fundamental part of our business model, and really looking at this project at Roebling Block 2 as an important project to continue to develop the city outside of Roebling Block 2, using that as the launch pad to really help revitalize and bring Trenton back. And another important feature that we built in was the $1 million purchase price on the land that we put on the front to make sure that money is flowing immediately into the city upon acceptance of our proposal. So I just want to see now, Tom 4, are you in? He's actually having trouble signing in.
So we'll let Mr. Hoffman chime in for a little while. He's our redevelopment attorney.
Sure. Thank
Mr.
you.
Hoffman, could you give us some guidance here as to some of the questions that we need to be answered? You're on mute, Mr. Hoffman.
Yes, I will. When do you think you would begin construction, and how long will it take you to to complete construction?
So construction for us after approval of the site, and I'm hoping that our actual developer would be able to come on, but we are ready once we go through all of the permitting process to start construction as soon as possible. So, you know, we're not really, we're only held up by the normal permitting processes, et cetera, that we have to go through upon approval. So we're ready to start doing that as soon as we go through that process. The total construction period that we see is about 2 years. And really, I want to emphasize, we want to keep the historic look and feel of the building. You know, our desire is to, you know, make sure the historical integrity remains intact. So call it a 2-year period. And, you know, we would anticipate that the permitting period is, and everything we need is about 8 months.
And what's the overall cost of the project?
The overall cost is, just 1 moment.
Okay, this is Daniel Lee, and for the construction costs, we're assuming $110 million.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
And how will that be funded?
We have local partners. Number one, we will purchase the land, and then we have equity, both financing by bank. But as an alternative, I'm the one in charge of funding from overseas.
But right now, what are you contemplating? Equity plus financing from the bank?
Typically, you know, our developer already completed the $300 million project in New Jersey. In US, we have equity, and in terms of equity, it's mostly the common, and there's LP, GP, and LP. So that's what we're contributing in the US side. And the financing side, we have a 2-track. One is we can create project financing in locally, or we can bring from overseas.
Do you have any binding commitments as of now?
Sir, the thing is, we need to secure some sort of agreement with the city, but because of our experience, we can come up with ROI and focusing on loading centers within 7 days. But at this moment, any legal binding commitment from bank is not possible.
Can I ask if someone can let Mr. Tom Four in? That's our developer, and he says he's in the lobby and needs access. I'm not sure if someone could.
Ms. Carter, could you have Samuel let him in? Could you give us a phone number that he's calling from?
Yeah, 1 moment. I think he's on. I think he's on Teams. I don't think he's calling in, but if he is, it's 443. 443 number, 443-506.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Hoffman, while we're waiting, trying to get this other gentleman in, because we're on a time schedule.
Except, besides the 2 Korean companies, do you have any firm commitments from any tenants?
I would like to invite Mr. John Park and part of a development team. I think, sir, you're asking the equity investment from U.S. side. So
I think he was asking about tenants and who we have on the tenant side. So currently we have the 2 Korean companies that are our anchor tenants and others that have expressed interest. But we've got 2 anchor tenants now that bring.
For the tenant size, that we bring the tenants committed who can create jobs. So 2 companies right now, actually it is incorporated in US.
He needs to identify himself.
John, can you identify who you are?
I'm the part of the development team. I'm the developer. I've been developing the
What is your
student
name,
housing.
sir? Then he's
What's
the
your
developer,
name?
but can I have his name?
John Park.
John Park.
Spell the last name.
Park. P-A-R-K.
P-A-R-K, Park.
All righty. Go right ahead, Mr. Parks.
Thank you. So my name is John Park again, and I've been developing the students' housing at workers. About four projects completely. Then I have one more project is coming. Total development size is about altogether. I've been developing about $250 million. So that I have a strong connection to bring the jobs, manufacturers into the United States. So we brought two Korean companies who are committed and they established their operation in U.S. already. So the reason we bring the two tenants is creating jobs. We have a plan build up the light manufacturing, which is more like repackaging, bring the main components from Korea and build up in Trenton with the repackaging facility. That creates most of the jobs. So yes, that the company is from Korea, but actually it is established in the United States operating.
And John, can you speak on Little Honors as well? I think that would be important to highlight.
My wife has
daycare and the tutoring company.
Yeah, we have been running the honors review, Princeton in the Plainsboro, 5 Market Street, Plainsboro, for the 17 years. That we are tutoring about 250 students per semester, the 3 semesters, that we are interacting a lot of the local students for higher education. Also, I once in the daycare in New Jersey. I have a daycare licensing in the Somerset, New Jersey, and we are having about 100 students. So the main focus as tenants we can have as daycare center and the tutoring, the higher education facilities in the Trenton area. So for decades we are having around 30 to 40 employees as tutors, teachers, and the workers in daycare.
Mr. Hoffman, is there any more questions?
Yeah, you said could you describe the 4 major projects that you said you've done?
Oh, 4 major projects. Okay, I have my project is 35 the students' apartments in the 56 the Ray Street, New Brunswick, and 58 another 33 the apartments in New Brunswick, Ray Street, and the third project is located at 510 Hamilton, Somerset, New Jersey. I built up about 48 apartments and 2 commercial area. That one is restaurant and one is daycare. So the total cost of the valuation of as of today is $37.46 million. That's what we have. And the fourth project on the ground, digging the ground, is the totaling valuation is $54 million. That's the heart of the Delaware, between the St. Peter Hospital and the Robert Wood Johnson University. I secured about 1.5 acres, building of about 98 apartments there. So I secured the funding through my own equity and the limited partnership and the bank loan from the Envoy Bank. So
Okay,
I
so
have.
All right. Yeah. And lastly, if you don't mind, Mrs. McBride, can we bring Tom Ford? Was he able to
no,
come
we
on?
don't. We don't have any more time left for you.
Okay. Okay.
We went past the time. I needed to ask the council members, since they were on this call, if any of the council members had any additional questions besides the questions that Mr. Hoffman put forth.
I do, Council President.
Go right ahead, Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson.
Yes. What type of manufacturing jobs are we talking about?
We do have the plasma air filter that we do import the main part of a PCBA and the extra shape. Then we set up the assembly line in the Trenton facilities, occupying about 50,000 square foot, that we can assemble the package and the ship out from the Trenton to the retailers. That's what the first one, the repackaging plasma air filter. Second is we do have the physics bio, which is mushroom. Out of a mushroom, we extract the antigen. So we make collagen, and we make the beauty product. We make the vegan food, and then we have repackaging, and we have a retail channels already set up. I've been also involved in the retail business, so we do have to deliver product out of the Trenton. So all together, we can create enough jobs that we are looking at about 300 to 500 jobs.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
During the construction project,
yes,
do you hire unions?
Yes.
This is, if I can interject, this is Tom Ford. I apologize. I couldn't get on through the video link, so I called in. We would absolutely do this job as union. Our history, our track record in New Jersey has been to work with the unions on our public-private partnerships. So.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
All right. Is there any other questions from any of the council members? Seeing no hands from any.
Council President.
Yes.
Council President.
Mr. Harrison. Yes, go right ahead, Mr.
Right.
Harrison.
One of my questions is, you're talking about these jobs and all that. Are we talking about, is there going to be pollution, noise concerns? Those are some that it's in a residential neighborhood, so I just would like to know, what's the intake going to be like regarding that?
Very minimal noise pollution, considering the light manufacturing nature. I would say completely contained to the premises, so there's nothing that will be creating excess noise and pollution as well. That's just basic energy uses. So no, there's no pollution drivers nor noise generating industries. All light manufacturing. So, mushroom growing, indoor growing, and extraction of the product. That means bottling, containerizing, etc. in that process. And on the air filters, that's really assembly and construction. But again, nothing that will be creating either of those in any meaningful way.
Have you done a feasibility test? See if the power grid can handle what you're going to need?
I can say that the grid as it stands should. We don't have excess energy requirements in terms of what we need in this project. So there's no reason to think that we wouldn't be able to satisfy our energy needs.
Also, another question is, has anybody associated with this proposal donated to anybody on this council, any council members?
I guess we can take a roll call. I can say I have not, for sure. I do not believe anyone on our team has done that, but if anyone has and I'm missing it, please chime in as we're all on there, but I believe the answer is no.
Sure, this is Tom Ford from Sword Development, and we absolutely have not. These are, this is a new project for us and new relationships, and albeit we do have a substantial amount of success and experience in New Jersey, this is our first project in your jurisdiction.
And Tom,
right,
can you just quickly mention Rowan as a project that you did? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure it was clear that project was in our group.
All right.
Yeah,
so
we
listen,
are the master developers for Rowan Boulevard.
I want to thank you all for coming and doing your presentation.
Council President, I wasn't finished.
But our time
Council
is
President, I
up
wasn't
for
finished.
this presentation. Mr. Harrison, if you have any more questions, please put them in writing to Mr. Hoffman and let Mr. Hoffman get the answers for you from everyone on their team. We will be in touch through Mr. Hoffman. That will be our conduit to the developer, is our redevelopment attorney. So we will get Mr. Hoffman, your attorney's number. So if anyone have any further questions, they can fill them through Mr. Hoffman. I thank you all for coming. I appreciate the time and the effort, and you guys can stay in touch through our redevelopment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, Council President, I got to ask you a question.
Ms. Penny Carter.
Council President. Council President.
Ms. Penny Carter.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Council President, I wanted to ask you a question, Council President.
What is the next item that's on the agenda?
Council President.
Why would you lie and say that we got asked a question and then you shut the floor down?
Council President.
I don't know who's speaking, but we were very fair in giving 20 minutes, and I don't think that anybody needs to be disrespectful. When I yield the floor, you have it. If I don't yield the floor, please be respectful and let's move this meeting forward. Ms. Carter.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Council President, I had a question to ask you.
Mr. Harrison, the meeting is continuing. We're going to open up the floor for our
don't you think we should have told ahead of time?
You do not have the floor. Mr. Harrison, you don't have the floor. Please.
I'll talk about it civic comment again. Okay.
Well, you need to, because you're being very disrespectful.
Disrespectful? You didn't let anybody know about this. I had no clue this was on here. It wasn't on the docket. Where was it on the docket? It wasn't on the docket.
Yes, it was.
Ms. Carter, we won't entertain him. It's not our fault he doesn't read his package. Let us continue, Ms. Carter.
We're going to have ordinance second reading and public hearings. Ordinance number 22-14. It's a capital ordinance appropriating $2 million from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for repaving of streets in the city of Trenton, in the county of Mercer, and the state of New Jersey. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Yes, I move that. So move. You will second it, Councilwoman Wilson. I moved it. Councilwoman Paul Wilson seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's open to the public for comment.
From what reading?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that was that just asked a question.
My name's Quinique King. I want to know what you opened the floor for public reading.
On the capital ordinance appropriating $2 million from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for repaving of streets in the city of Trenton, in the county of Mercer, state of New Jersey.
Oh, you opened the floor for that, but I can't talk about the redevelopment. Okay, I'm good on that one.
Council President, you have 4 hands up.
Okay, yeah, because you know I can't
Council
see them.
President McBride, could someone
First one is
elaborate
Mary
from
Horn.
the administration, please, about this? What whoever's proposed this for the capital orders, tell the public a little bit about it, please.
I don't know who that is
Okay,
speaking.
excuse me, Ms. Garrett, but you know the rules to the council. First, you have to be identified as a speaker, and then the floor has to be yielded to you. So, Councilwoman Wilson, you're helping me with because you know I can't see the hands. So
Mary Horn. Mary Horn is the first speaker.
Mary Horn is the first speaker. Ms. Horn, go right ahead.
Thank you, Council President McBride. I just can't believe this sometimes. But Council President, I would just like to ask the question, do we have a list of the streets that will be repaved? And if not, I'm good with that till we hear about what area is going to be repaved. That's the only question.
I can ask Mr. This is an ordinance, so you are allowed to ask the questions. So I will ask Mr. Onateri to respond to your question. Mr. Onateri, Ms. Horn would like to know a list of the streets that are being paved and under this ordinance and this $2 million.
Hello,
Director Onateri.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good evening, Council President, Council. The list we have 55 streets that we want to try to work on this year to do this and then continue from next year. And we have these streets split up into the 4 wards. We have it in the north, in the east, in the south. So we have.
Can you give us a couple names of some streets here in the east west? Do you have the list in front of you that you could actually name some of these streets for this resident?
Unfortunately, I don't have the list in front of me, but if you want me to, Council President, I can forward this list to you.
No. I need before this meeting is over for you to get the list so that we can put it on the screen.
Yeah, we got enough room.
Is that possible, Mr. Onateri?
No.
Mr. Onateri?
You said before it's over, then I can get it to you before it's over.
I would like for the resident to have the answer because it should have just been a part of the ordinance.
The reason why that is not possible is because if I give you the list as we have it now, this is almost the end of June. By the time we go to start this project, it's not going to be able to cover some of these streets if I give you everything that we intend to do. So that is why I didn't give it to you at that time until we know what is going on with this approval of this money.
That's not a good answer, Mr. Onateri, at all. It just isn't. We should at least have some of the streets in each ward a part of the ordinance. People want to know in their communities what streets are being.
I do have it, Council President, for each ward. I have list of streets, but I just don't have it with me right now.
All right. So can we say that you'll get this over to the clerk's office on Monday because tomorrow is a holiday for the city, so that we can get
I sure
Ms.
will.
Horn well, thank you. So we can get that over to Ms. Horn.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Ms. Horn, is that it for you?
Thank you very much, Council President McBride. That would be agreeable because I'm just looking for fairness in each ward. I'm not, I live in the Westwood. I just would like to know we need a lot of things paving here. So I'm just looking to that. But thank you so very much for finding a middle of the road for me. Thank you so much. Then I'll look forward to that.
All righty, we'll make sure we get you a
Your
copy
ne-
of the streets. Thank you.
Thank
Who's
you.
next,
Then-
Councilwoman
The
Caldwell-Wilson?
next person is citizen guest.
Citizens guest, can you identify yourself?
Yes, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairwoman, my name is Matthew Conlon. I reside in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I would like to speak to Capital Ordinance 22-14.
Go right ahead, Mr. Matthew Collins.
Yes, ma'am. While I appreciate that the $2 million is being potentially voted on this evening without a list of council, being presented to council and council being unaware of the streets, I just wanted to remind you all, you do have the ability to hold the public hearing, close the public hearing, and then vote on this at a later date until you do receive the list. Besides that, I did have actually a more salient public comment. Anybody who drives outside of the city of Trenton, especially on the state roads and the state highways, knows that Governor Murphy has done a very aggressive job of repaving most of the state and many of the county roads that run out through our great state. Unfortunately, that seems to stop just as you hit the Trenton city line, including those roads that are maintained by the state and county. And I was just wondering if anybody had an answer what the mayor is trying to do to get those roads, which are in a serious state of disrepair, repaired by the county and the state in coordination with this $2 million capital appropriation. Thank you, Madam Chairman. That's my question.
Thank you.
The next
Councilwoman
person-
Caldwell-Wilson.
Yeah, the next person is Miss C. Trenton Business.
Ms. C. Trenton Business, will you identify yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Ms. McBride, or Council President McBride. My name is Ms. Chowdhury, and I'm a business owner in Trenton. And my question, I don't know enough about this and how this kind of project operates, but I just wanted to put in kind of a question mark and an ask that, what parameters are in place to make sure that some of these jobs trickle down to to city residents. I think one of the biggest issues that happens is there's such a disenfranchisement of residents when a project comes in, whether it's a building. Can you please mute yourself? Whether it's a project that comes in, whether it's a construction project, particularly temporary projects, but I feel like they don't trickle down in their hiring. And so I wanted to know what guardrails are being put in, because I think it's really important that when development happens in an area, that there's a palpable, real economic benefit to those who are in the area. I know that I think there's some kind of rule about hiring, but what is it? And if someone could speak to that, and how is it going to be enforced, more importantly? Because if they're putting $2 million into the city, then city residents should be benefiting, besides the direct benefit of having the streets be a little bit nicer. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr.
I
Onateri.
need to ask the previous speakers to put their hands down. The next one is Ron.
Wait, no. Before we go any further, we want to have Mr. Onateri address Miss City Trenton's concern, because this is a public hearing and she wants to know about the $2 million remaining in the city for city residents, and if they're going to get the lion's share of this $2 million, or is it all going to be given to contractors that does not hire city residents? Mr. Onateri, can you speak to that, please?
Yes, Council President. This money given to us is for in-house project. The City of Trenton staff at streets. We have our workers, we have the equipment. This is something for us to get materials and other things we need to do the city roads. We're not going to hire other than the temporary workers we're going to be hiring for the summer. That is it. We're not giving this to contractors. This is in-house project for the city roads.
Okay. Thank you. That's your answer, Ms. Trenton. Councilwoman, the next person.
Ron Guest.
Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest. No one's responding to that. Councilwoman, could you give me the next person? You're muted, Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson.
It's got his name as Ron, and then in parentheses, guest.
Okay, well, Ron is not coming to the floor, so you can move to the next person. All
There's
righty.
no one else.
All righty. So seeing no other hands for ordinance 22-14.
Excuse me, Council President, my hand is up.
Okay.
I don't see
it.
This is Sherry Garrett.
Yes, go right ahead, Ms. Garrett. Identify yourself and you may ask your question.
Yes, Sherry Garrett, West Ward. A couple of things. Well, Mr. Onateri did answer the question about is this in-house. Mr. Onateri, the equipment that you are going to hopefully the safety equipment is going to come along with that as well, and training for the seasonal workers. My concern is that because if someone gets hurt out there, especially a seasonal worker, that will be costly, a huge liability to the city. And Mr. Onateri, from my understanding, there's at one time you had people at the marina, and you didn't have the proper tools, the proper personnel or other entities that involved with bringing up that I think it was the dock. So my concern with you, Mr. Onateri, is making sure that the in-house staff is trained. And I know at one time, I think at under Mr. Max, former Mayor Max reign, that there was a machine or that for paving. You bought paving equipment and tools. I know that's been some time ago. A lot of that stuff it's not outdated unless it's not being kept up. So I guess my question to you, Mr. Onateri, and to the council body is: are we going to make sure that these in-house workers are briefed or familiarized or have like a orientation to make sure that they understand what is required? And also, are you just filling potholes? Are you actually going to come in, strip the streets, and lay the blacktop on top? Because that's another question. Are we just doing potholes, filling potholes, or just throwing some blacktop on top of areas that are uneven? Or are we actually going to lift up the street, the old blacktop, and lay fresh blacktop down? That's my question. If I didn't ask too many questions.
Are you gonna, Mr. Onateri, are you gonna be filling potholes or paving complete streets?
Council President, you're giving me 2 million. I will not be doing pothole with 2 million. And like Ms. Garrett said earlier, we do have the equipment and we have the people that are trained on the equipment, and we continue to have discussion about what we have been doing in the past for years. We've been doing road construction, and these are the same guys we have. Yes, when we have new seasonal employee, yes, we do train them and we give them safety instruction before we go out there to do our job. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next person, Miss Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson.
I don't see anyone else. I didn't miss Garrett.
Right. Is there anyone on the phone? Is there any phone callers? Are there anyone on the phone? If there's no one on the phone.
Yes.
Okay, so identify yourself, please.
My name is Queenie King. Again, I actually, now that you explained it, I got something to say. How many women are going to be on this job? And how many of them are going to be qualified in this? Everybody going to the job going to have fall protection and OSHA training, which is required at this point of OSHA 30 in the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. How many of these people are actually qualified that are going to be on the job? And I understand seasonal, but it's nothing to make sure that somebody has to 30-hour training of OSHA and 8 hours of fall protection, which is equivalent to a 40-hour work week. And is the contractor going to make sure that is covered? Because that's under, funding, government funding. It's required by the contractor and OSHA to provide it.
Thank you. Mr. Auditore already answered that. He said that they do train, and so we'll take the next.
No.
Thank you
I asked specifically about a certain training. He did not say anything about OSHA or fall protection on this job. Some of these passageways that need to be fixed are over a fall protection, fall arrest under OSHA, which is 6 feet. Technically 4, but 6 feet at the minimum commercially. I'm a union carpenter, and I'm asking because I would hate to tell somebody about this job, and they're incompetent, to be honest.
Mr. Auditore, could you answer the question?
Thank you, Council President. Again, we are not hiring the union because we have city employees that does that job. And the seasonal we have, yes, they will be trained before we put them out there. And we don't really use so much seasonal on our paving project. Every year we do paving. They go and do other things, not working with the guys we have now. But whatever they're going to do, they will be trained. Thank you.
What I said was, do they have OSHA 30 and fall protection, which would eliminate the liability of the city, because that means that you would have to supply certain things to where it makes the city less liable if something happened to them by them being complacent. So the question again was not if you're hiring union, but are you giving them the quality training that needs to be on the job, whether they're seasonal or not? Because, not for nothing, let's be honest, it may only take you 2 weeks, but you can't have nobody on the job like a deer in headlights. And are you going to make sure that they have proper PPE, since you just threw that one out there? Hard hats and class 3 safety vests is required. State law.
Mr. Honorary, could you answer that?
Can I
speak,
please?
Yes.
You will be they will have the proper gear. All righty. Thank you. And so we're going to move on. Is there any other people on the line that's calling?
I ain't even answer about the OSHA. OSHA is the biggest thing that y'all need to be worried about, is occupational health and safety. Come on now.
He did answer.
He said they'll have proper training, but he never verified whether they're going to give them OSHA. That's big, because they're bringing in seasonal people. These people, they only having them for a limited time, but make sure that they marketable when they leave. And you can scream all you want, but make sure my people marketable. And God forbid I was running for office. I really demand more answers, but I'm not. That's very basic. Crybabies.
The next person on the call is who? You have to identify yourself because we don't see you. All right, seeing no one and hearing no one, I move to close 22-14 to the public.
Second.
Second by Caldwell Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Damn.
Aye.
22-14
Council
has been
Excuse me,
closed.
Council President. I think it was someone on the phone waiting to speak, and the muting probably was a delay for them.
We've closed the public comment for 22-14.
Yes, I kept saying it's Bernard.
Okay.
We have to move on to 22-15, and he can speak to this if he would like. Miss Carter, where are you?
I'm here. Ordinance 22-15, an ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property identified on the city tax map as 437 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Block 6608, Lot 2, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-13B5 to Torrance Green for the sum of $8,800. I have to go back because I have to call, roll call on the motion to adopt the ordinance. We need that.
That's right.
So moved.
No, she said we have to go back to 2214.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
We have to
Put the
vote on
motion
it.
on the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
Carried. And now the 22-115, the ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property identified on the city tax map as 437 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Block 6608, Lot 2, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-13B5 to Torrance Green for the sum of $8,800. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay.
Councilwoman, do you see any hands? Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson? You're on
I
mute.
don't see any hands and I don't,
it's
there's
two
two
people.
people now.
Yes.
Sherry Garrett.
Go right ahead, Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, Council President and the council body. About this property, the city, is it a building on top of a lot? Could somebody give me a description of this, and who is Terrence Green? Is this a person for personal use or this is for commercial use? Could somebody give me some background, please?
That would come from the Housing and Economic Development Department, Ms. Sally Samuels or Mr. Daniels, Mr. C. Daniels. Ms. Samuels or Mr. Daniels?
Yes, Council President, I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulty today. I apologize. I'm here. So can you reiterate the question, please? Because it was going in and out and I was unable to hear clearly. Can you hear me?
Tell us a little bit I can hear you clearly. Thank you for answering. I want to know about the sale of this property. Is it a house on top of it? Is this a commercial property? Is this going to be used as a residential or commercial? And also, if this, I'm assuming this is the assessed value, $8,800. Even though that's the assessed value, that doesn't mean that's the market rate value. They're two different. They're different. So could you explain that to Ms. Sanders?
Yes. Yes, thank you so much for your question. Presently, that particular property, 437 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, is a small, undersized lot. We're selling it to the contiguous property owner, whose name it should be referenced on the resolution, Torrance Green. Torrance Green made an initial application to the city of Trenton. At that time, he did place a bid. However, since this council's tenure, they have required that all properties be sold with an appraisal. So we got an appraisal. We did not accept Mr. Torrance Green's initial offer. We got an appraisal. And that appraisal came in at $8,800. This is not the assessed value. This is the appraised value. Pursuant to law, we had to notify the other contiguous owners. We did that, and the other contiguous owner did also submit a bid. But Mr. Green's bid, his initial bid, was still higher than the other contiguous owners. When Mr. Green was presented with the appraisal, he agreed to pay the appraisal value. So hence, that's why we're here this evening presenting this ordinance to the council and to the public and recommending that this sale be authorized. I don't know if that answers your questions, but I'm willing to provide more information if you need it.
Okay, so this is the property that initially Mr. Green was trying to purchase for $34,000. Is this that property that's been spoken about?
No, this is an undersized contiguous lot. Right. It's
Okay.
it.
It's
No,
fine.
this is
It's
a
fine.
lot next to his home, or next to a property that he
Okay,
owns.
thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next person calling, take your hand down, Ms. Garrett. Your hand is still up.
I don't see any other hands raised unless someone's on the phone.
Is there anyone on the phones? Is there anyone on the phone?
Nope.
There's no one on the phone. Ms. Carter.
I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then I need a motion to adopt.
So move.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
It's carried. Ordinance 22-17 is an ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property identified on the city tax map as 178 Sherman Avenue, Block 21601, Lot 70, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-13B5 to Johander A. Rodriguez for the sum of $5,300. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone in the public, Councilwoman, that you see that would like to speak to
I
this?
don't see any hands up.
Is there anyone on the phone?
Oh, wait a second, Miss Garrett just put her hand up.
Go right ahead, Ms. Garrett.
Miss Garrett.
Thank you, Council President and the council body. Same question, except is this I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so my point of instead of haggling about these properties, my question is, even though it's, I think, not the assessed value, she said the appraised value is $7,000. I'm assuming this is another lot without a house, and I'm going to assume that this person or this company, this is a company, so this is a commercial property. Is that correct? And if it is a commercial property or it's a residential property, the appraised value and the market rate, again, I guess my point is it may be appraised at $7,000, but I don't think you have to sell it at $7,000. And and my point is, if the person was willing to pay the 35, I think this is the one with the $30,000. Why isn't the person still interested in purchasing this at the market rate? That's my question.
This is for $5,300.
Oh, 2216 was taken off. Oh, we're on
Yes, it
2217.
Yes,
We're on
it was.
22.
Okay. Okay, so this is a adjoining property, I'm assuming, for Miss Johander Rodriguez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have no more questions. I apologize.
Do you see any other hands, Councilwoman
No.
Wilson?
No, I don't.
All right. Is there anyone else on the phone?
Yes.
I'm hearing that. Could you identify yourself?
Faith Ann Pearson.
Go right ahead, Ms. Pearson.
I happen to live diagonally across from this property. I happen to know that Johander A. Rodriguez quite personally, and I am hoping that this goes through because they could use the lot. They have children. They could use it for their children to play on, as well as if any other items that they would like to use once they own the property, they would be able to expand. I hope you guys go through with it because this family is godsend to the community. Thank you.
Is there any more hands or anyone else on the phone? Hearing no one and
hands.
seeing no hands, I will move Ms. Carter to close public comment for 2217.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
A motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
Carried. The next ordinance is 22-19, an ordinance creating the confidential position of clinical psychologist in the Department of Health and Human Services, newly established mental health and wellness program in the director's office, setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of the same. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't see any hands up.
Okay, make a motion to close.
Second.
Oh, wait, one person just put their, Sherry Garrett.
Thank you, Councilwoman Morris Caldwell. Thank you,
Go right
Council
ahead.
President McBride and the rest of the council body. I guess my only thing is not going to harp on this because I think this is part of Dr. Lopez did speak on this. I think my concern when it was spoke on for Tuesday, when the councilwoman Vaughn was addressing the credentials, my concern is there something in place? Like I know Dr. Lopez was speaking on holistic approach, blah, blah, blah. But what does that entail? I don't need her to tell us that now, because that could be involved. But my concern is this person, the clinical psychiatrist, is this because the issue with psychology today, why I'm bringing this up, is that it's more about administering psych drugs than really counseling someone. So she did say holistic. Holistic, from my perspective, does not, unless it's a severe issue, psych drugs would be, it's a clinical issue. Psych drugs would be what be prescribed. But clinical to me sounds like this is not like someone coming and having a discussion, really trying to get their emotions and perspective about whatever it is going on with them. Clinical to me sounds more like it's for prescribing psych drugs. And if that's the case, this is what that role is going to be. Like, I'm not really sure how the program is going to be administered. And I wish that Ms. Lopez would submit something to the council to really kind of give us a plan, an action plan of how she's going to implement this mental health personnel merging and how they're going to work with the community. Because clinical to me sounds more like it's more for prescribing psych drugs than really having someone come in and speak to someone and work with whatever issues they have, like, a psychiatrist. So if she could just clarify that, it would be appreciated.
I thought this spoken to on Tuesday, but if Dr. Lopez is on and would like to speak to it.
Madam President, can I say something about this issue?
No, it's public comment.
Oh, okay.
It's public comment now, and she asked for Dr. Lopez, so let Dr. Lopez answer the question.
Psychologists cannot, by law, cannot issue medication. Has to be a psychiatrist, medical doctor.
Council President, I can speak.
Go right ahead. Yes.
Yes, and I hear, Ms. Garrett, it's my pleasure to answer your questions. And I hear your concerns regarding the prescription of psych drugs, medication. And that's not the preview of what this program is about. So just a brief synopsis of what a clinical psychologist will do. And I will provide a full action plan of my overall program once this is the last step in getting this second reading and public hearing for the clinical psychologist. So once this is adopted, then I can move forward with my program. But the clinical psychologist, a few snippets, is that this individual will be a liaison, like to city administration, to assist employees through the Employee Advisory Service Program. There will be a liaison through the State Department of Human Services, Mental Health and Addiction Services, the hospitals, especially Capital Health Crisis Unit and the Victory Program, because I did expand on previous council meetings that we have residents and Capital Health expand on that they had approximately 85% of Trenton residents being discharged because they didn't meet the level of care for treatment or hospitalization. So these 85% of the residents are not being followed through because there's no other mechanism in place. This is why I established this program, to do a follow-up so we can reach the 85% of the population who are not being followed through. We also have the Trenton Public Schools Crisis Response Team that we're collaborating with. There's also my C Center Mobile Outreach Program. That's for the homelessness. That's where we have the mental health workers. That's also going to be a part of this program. We also have community agencies who are rendering mental health resources, services, and treatment, such as Oaks Integrated. I am planning to meet with Caitlin Fair in regards to some of the things. So just letting you know, these are some of the previews of some of the snippets and things that we are doing for this program. We're also going to be a part of Department of Children and Families, the Children's System of Care, and the Success Centers that are in the city of Trenton. So that's a holistic approach, is bringing everyone in that preview. So just to expand on that a little bit, but there will be an overall description of what this program will entail, and City Council will definitely get a copy of that.
Thank you. I just want to say this last bit, Council President. You know, I have someone close to me who is a therapist, a family therapist. Just to keep this aware, Ms. Dr. Lopez. I mean, she went to school. She's got a master's, and now she's getting another master's in psychology. I'm gonna tell you something. She can't find her own issues. So I'm just concerned. You know, people with all these credentials, they can't even help themselves out of their own mess. So I'm just, you know, hopefully you will really screen the individual who's going to be in this role to be able to direct people where they need to go or to get the resources or tools. But I'm just telling you, just for someone close to the family, this person, a very close relative, cannot find her own nose. But thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Correct.
You
Seeing no
have
other hands.
Miss C. Trenton Business.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of add on. Oh, sorry.
Go right ahead.
My name is Ms. Chowdhury. And I'm a business owner. I actually think that Ms. Garrett's point is kind of interesting, because I think there does need to be caring and compassionate support. The reason I say that is because being in education, I see the number of children that are placed into programs, given IEPs. I see the disproportionate number of children who are minorities that are instantly given IEPs over anything which for someone else might have been seen as, just a rite of passage altercation at recess. And so I do think that, sometimes these mental health programs, or whatever you want to call them, get misused. Sometimes they become just another cash cow, and it's just a method to suppress people and oppress people, and label people. And there's, you can go deeper into this if you want to do your own research. But I do just want to point out that, adding a school counselor should not mean that we have 70% of our kids having IEPs, and in a similar manner, I would hate to see something like that happen, at any level coming out of a program like this. We need really holistic care, and with the end goal of returning people to being productive members of society, not with the efforts of, having them perpetually on some kind of program and on some kind of medication, so that, some entity makes some profit off of this. So I agree. It needs to be respectful.
Thank you.
I don't see any more hands.
I move to close public comment for 2219.
You had moved to close it, and Councilwoman Wilkins had seconded the motion. So,
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Can I have a motion to adopt?
So move. Christie needs to take her hand up.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent, Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
Carried. Next is ordinance 22-20, an ordinance amending ordinance 19-37, entitled an ordinance creating seasonal positions, fixing the salary range therefore, and setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of the same. We have a motion to open the public hearing.
What was your suggestion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. See these hands up.
I don't see any hands up.
I see
one person.
Councilwoman.
Miss Garrett. Miss Garrett has her hands up.
I'm sorry, I don't see what Miss Penny Carter just read. I don't have that on my agenda. The last one I have is the clinical psychiatrist.
No, it's page
Well, this
3
was-
of, I'm sorry, it's
If you
page
were on
3
the-
of 6.
Okay, could someone explain this ordinance? I apologize. I don't know where you're talking. I don't see where you're speaking. That you're referencing.
Is Maria Richardson on, or someone that can explain this?
Yeah,
ordinance?
yes, if you could, please. Thank you.
Miss Richardson. Director Richardson.
Madam President, this is Adam Cruz, Business Administrator.
Right ahead, I was calling for Director Richardson.
Yeah, she may be having technical difficulties. I know she was on a few minutes ago. But the question is, Madam President, that she doesn't see this ordinance on the agenda. However, the official ordinance agenda is on the screen as we speak. So, whether Ms. Garrett has it in her possession
Thank you,
or not,
Mr. Cruz. I see it. I see it now.
Yes.
I see it now. Thank you. I apologize. Yes. Only thing I have to say about 2220, I apologize because I have the old one. I don't have the updated agenda. About the 2220 is that just as we were speaking about the first one, which was the 2214, the seasonal workers, make sure that they are first trained or sat down first with a orientation of exactly what's expected of them, what type of work they will be doing in the different departments. As well as I wanted to make comment that there was about a discussion about the salary and not paying the seasonals more than they would pay the union workers. And my comment, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but when the union officials were at the negotiation table with the administration, that was their time to negotiate a salary. I'm not saying that you're not the union personnel or officials didn't do their job. I'm just saying, if that's what you negotiated, that's what you negotiated. You can't get offended. And three, the money that's being used is for revitalizing, helping with jobs and employment within the various municipalities around the country. So right now, we're trying to, as everyone else is trying to revitalize the 200. I think it's like 80 something persons. I think that you're going to be seasonal workers. It's a shame we didn't increase that dollar amount from the American Rescue Act, because it's basically for the residents. So it's nothing wrong with hiring residents at 23, because with the cost of living and what's happening, we're in a high inflation recession. So period right now. I mean, what we're talking about paying, I mean, rent is so high. Most people just for a one bedroom is paying close to 13 or 14, some $1,500 a month. And that's not including what you got to feed if you have children. And if you can afford that, you're definitely not getting any other assistance. So my point speaking on 2220 is that, I don't see the salary range or the hourly rate being an issue. And I also want to just say this, and I'll stop talking. When New Jersey during Sandy, whatever, the hurricane, the disaster with the water, apologize. There were staff, the staff that division, they were paying way above what state workers were making, because they need to get people in there fast, people who had, when you pay a lot higher salary, you can probably get people who have more experience and in different roles. Now, I know I have a few friends and family members who are in their own business, and it's very hard to hire people. People are not, excuse my French, is trying to roll out of bed for something to go to work, to struggle to get to work, struggle and worry about how they're going to pay their bills, and also with the stress of the entity or the or staff that they're working with, at that added stress. I mean, really, is it really worth it? So there's a lot of aspects of this resolution and the hourly rate that we need to kind of look at, because as I stated, the money is being used out of the ARPA fund, the American Rescue Fund. It's not coming out of the operating budget. It's not coming. We're not bonding to hire these seasonal workers. So, and we just got a little the other half of that money. So, it's for to revitalize, to help turn things around in municipalities where at once the government wasn't even giving up any money. You understand what I'm saying? So it's called entitlement money. This entitlement money is for the residents, and we need to use it and spend it wisely. And what better way to do it and let them earn that money that doesn't come out of the operating budget. We're not bonding for it. And I think we should raise the hourly rate higher. That's all. Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, I'd like to move to close the public comment for 2220.
Second.
I think someone's on the phone, Council President. I think it was.
I don't see anyone. Hear anyone?
Oh, I just heard someone. Okay.
To close the public hearing, may I have a voice? No, may I have a voice vote before
Aye. No, you just have to give the ayes.
Yeah, ayes.
Aye.
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 Now I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent, Councilwoman Wilkins.
Before I vote, I just wanted to say that I agree with the constituent, and I think that this rate should be higher. We have to advocate for our residents so that they are paid on a higher scale. My vote is no.
Council President McBride,
Yes.
adoption was carried. The next on the agenda is under reports, the American Legion Mitchell A. Davis Post number 182, their 2022 to 2023 pull tab license renewal.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we go to the consent agenda. It's resolution 22-242, resolution 22.
Can we, Miss Carter, go, I just wanted to go back, can you take the screen back? And
To what?
so under you have, under reports, you have the American Legion, and then you have the redevelopment presentation. Why is the redevelopment presentation under reports? Is my question.
Because initially I did not realize it was supposed to be a separate item in the beginning. And so that's where we ended up putting it. And we just didn't change the agenda. That's all. I mean, the docket.
Okay. All righty.
Council President, Council President.
Yes.
I wanted to
Yes.
make a notation on the consent agenda. I believe on the consent agenda, we have, we're voting with regards to the Cannabis Advisory Committee.
Well, yes.
And what I wanted to make notation of is that it should be separated out. We're voting on a lump sum of candidates when normally when we vote for commissions and boards and committees, we do them individualized. And I think that it should be split out to 4 instead of voting them in a lump sum, because we don't do that normally.
Let me explain. I received 2 new resolutions that are numbered 22-259A, which appoints, let me see if I can find it real quick. One gentleman, and then 259-B appoints the other 3. That was what was given to our office from
Council President, we never do committees and commissions and boards in lumps.
Here it is.
It's based on
right. And I
Yes.
agree, but Mr. Colosi has suggested that they all be pulled. Mr. Colosi, would you chime in on this?
Please.
A question was raised as to one individual based upon employment issues, and we're in the process of researching it. We weren't able to conduct all the research to get this resolved today. My understanding was that that they were going to be parceled out, but that I'd have to ask Mr. Bridges to speak to exactly what happened.
Well, we don't have to ask Mr. Bridges to speak.
Yeah, we don't.
The councilwoman said that she would like to see them separated, and we weren't going to vote on it. But my problem with this entire process is that if the councilwoman didn't call it out, were we going to be allowed to vote on that consent agenda when all of that information was readily on hand? That's the problem that I'm having.
No, when it got to 22-259, I would have explained that we got 2 separate resolutions, 22-259A, which would appoint Darren Green, and 22-259B, which appoints Quentin Jones, Joel Smith, and Trish Lee.
They should
So
all
I'm
separated, Council President.
Yeah, they right.
Yeah,
and I
individualized.
agree.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So Mr. Kaloji, could you have Mr. Bridges at least separate them out and bring them back for a vote, and that'll give you the opportunity.
Why don't we separate them one on each resolution? This way, if someone has a problem with one name, they end up voting no, but they might be in favor of the other two names. And, you know, it would probably be better to just do 4 separate resolutions.
All 4 separate, yes. Absolutely.
Ms. Garrett, you could take your hand down. This is not a public comment. This is for the council.
Good try.
And
Council President, if I may, and I guess, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The 4 resolutions, since we're going to pull this tonight, the 4 resolutions will be brought back at what meeting?
They'll be brought back on the July the July the 7th meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
And then by that time, between Mr. Bridges and Mr. Kaloji, they can have an definitive answer. They can have an definitive answer for us, where there's someone speaking into this session, and we should have a definitive answer about the person in question. So, Ms. Carter, we're going to pull that, and then we're going to bring them back separately, and as they should have been separate in the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is there anybody that opposed to
it? Should have been separate.
Please do.
Separate. Okay. Just so we know for the future. I'll have to go back because I don't remember where I ended up. 22-242, 22-244, 22-247, 22-248, 249, 250, 251, 252, 256, 257, 557, 558 are all consent agendas. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Yes. Wait a minute. This here.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilman Michelle.
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins.
Yes.
Council President McBride. Council President.
Yes.
Okay. The consent agenda was carried. Now we go to resolutions for roll call. The first is 22-243, resolution prioritizing public comment at Trenton City Council meetings to residents, taxpayers, property owners, and business owners of the city, subject to certain exceptions, such as, for example, ratepayers of the Trenton Water Works on matters limited to water and sewer issues, and allowing any other individual to provide public comment at the discretion of the council president. May I have a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson?
No.
Councilman Harrison?
No.
Councilman Michelle?
No.
Councilman Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins?
Yes.
Councilwoman McBride?
Yes.
So it carried.
Wasn't it a 3-3 vote?
3-3 tie.
I'm sorry,
3-3 tie.
I looked at the wrong column. It's a tie. So it fails?
Correct.
It does not carry.
Correct.
Okay.
It didn't fail. It didn't carry. Mr. Kaloji, chime in.
It didn't, you're right, it did not carry. Whether we consider that a fail or a not carry, it's the same thing. you need 4 votes to carry it. If you got 7 people.
I looked at the wrong column. Okay, 22-245 is a resolution authorizing emergency appropriations to the CY 2022 temporary utilities budget of the City of Trenton in the amount of $19,011,462.64. I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Miss Carter, I'll wait till we get to my vote, but I was trying to speak. I was trying to
Sorry.
speak to this.
All right.
Yeah, because my whole thing with this budget appropriation is a couple things. First of all, I heard Mr. Cruz the other night state that the administration gave us that budget on time, and under the budget law, they did not give us the budget on time. And then on top of everything else, how dare them come to us for $65 million when every department except the clerk's office is under a federal subpoena or state subpoena. The only thing that we should have in front of us tonight is the salaries. Other than those salaries, it should not be here. I would not give Reed 6 cents less on $65 million when every department is under investigation. Corruption. No. And I'm telling you, they shouldn't have even brought it to us. They should have helped us get this budget back on track, the meeting scheduled based on the fact that we asked for information. They refused to give it to us. We had to go to DCA to drag it out of them when it should have been submitted to us when they submitted that budget. And then he had the gall to say on Tuesday night that they gave us that budget. They introduced the budget to us on time. Under the budget law, it should have been introduced to us in August under the budget law. And I don't care if DCA said, hey, we'll give you an extension. Under the budget law, it should have came to us in August. And then you put 2 resolutions up here worth $65 million. $65 million.
This not business, this personal.
And every department is under investigation. And I'm only going by what has happened in the past. They always say, look at past practices. Past practice was when Tony was under investigation, they stripped him down to 1 aide, Mr. Tony Roberts, and they did not let him spend a dime.
Are we,
DCA
Council President, are we taking a vote?
I can
Council
speak.
President. No, you're not. We're taking a vote. You're rambling. We're taking a vote.
You better be quiet.
You're rambling again. We're taking a vote.
You better be quiet.
There's a vote in the process. There's a vote in process, and you're rambling again. No, better be quiet. Stop rambling. There's a vote going in process.
I am speaking, and I don't know who told you.
No, there's not.
Me, but
George Michel's got a vote. Santiago's got a vote. Sonia's got a vote. That's how it goes.
And they will, because it should.
Well, then stop rambling. You're rambling.
Joe, shut up.
I'm not sure who that is, but it doesn't really matter.
I'm telling you that there's no way that this should even be on the docket based on past history. And all the attorneys always say, we go by the way that we did business, the way business was did prior. But yet and still, it was okay to shut Tony Mack down, and you're going to give this man $65 million. If it's not to pay the salaries is all I want to pay. The salaries. Now, Miss Penny Carter, this was supposed to be open up to the floor before you move to the vote. You did not have my consent to move it to a vote without my consent. Let's get the rules straight here, Mr. Harrison.
But there's a vote on the floor.
I don't
Council President, there's a vote on the floor. The rules are the rules. Learn to follow the rules.
Shut up, Joe.
Who's being asked? Who's telling me to shut up? Could you at least identify yourself?
Whoever.
Man, shut up.
Go ahead, Ms. Carter. And this is what I'm talking about competency. Go ahead, Ms. Carter.
Okay, I'll start over because I'm not sure where I was. Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson?
I already voted. No, did I?
Yes.
Yeah, but, okay. Councilman Harrison?
Already voted.
Councilman Michelle?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
No.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins?
No.
Council President McBride?
No.
So it failed. Or didn't carry. The next one is 22-246, a resolution authorizing emergency appropriations in the CY 2022 temporary budgets of the City of Trenton current fund in the amount of $46,970,773.32.
And I'll speak to this again. The only thing we should be giving this mayor is the money to pay the salaries for the employees in the city of Trenton, and not one other cent. And DCA should be ashamed of themselves, because they should have stopped him. They should have said, until those subpoenas are answered, until those investigations are closed, then he has no right to spend a dime, nothing but to pay the employees and to make sure we have running water and lights in our building. That's all. Shouldn't be another dime spent. And as a matter of fact, that large sum, the $187,000 that he has going to his office, should have been cut. Should have been cut in half. Outrageous. It's outrageous. Never seen anything like it before. And you talk about privilege. That's all I have to say.
Can I have a motion?
Take it to the vote.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Councilman Michelle?
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez?
No.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins?
No.
Council President McBride?
No.
Did not carry.
Miss Carter,
Yes.
22-253 was removed from the docket by the administration on Tuesday.
Okay. Ooh.
Am I correct, Mr. Bridges?
Yes.
Two. Okay,
You did hear the
22.
yes, right?
Beg your pardon?
I said you did hear the yes, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
22-254 is a resolution rejecting bids received for demolition of vacant abandoned structures in the city of Trenton. Contracting unit wants to substantially revise the specifications. Bid 2022-11.
So moved.
We have 22-254. Oh, okay. So, Ms. Carter, I was the one that asked for this to be roll call. And
Yes.
the reason that I asked for this to be roll call, because I want this read into the record, that if there is some type of the scope of work, or as they say here, substantially revise the specifications. The problem that I have with that is that once they open up those bids and they expose that lowest bidder, and then they go back out to bid on this later, the problem that I have is that they expose the lowest bidder. So now his numbers are out there and anyone else's numbers can go under his number. And that, I don't like that, because to me, I have a problem with that. If they were going to change the specifications, they should have did an amendment, an addendum, or whatever you call it, but they should have not exposed that lowest bidder's bid. And that I want read into the record, because I have a problem with this. This is not the first time they've done this, but this is not a practice that I want to cast a vote on.
Council President.
Yes, go right ahead.
Council President.
Yes, go ahead.
The issue that I have too is they were saying substantial. If it was something that needed to be changed within the scope of the work and it's substantial, it should have been listed. The substantial changes at least should have been listed, because I concur with what you're saying. If we're making changes and we're rejecting bids, but we're rejecting them after everyone has been exposed to the lowest bidder's information and cost, it's not fair to the lowest bidder. So I have a problem with supporting it, because they're not saying what the substantial changes are. And I guess what we perceive as substantial could mean changes in the steps. That could be substantial because you can't egress and degress out of a building. But if it's substantial, state what the substantial changes are, because it does make a difference. Because like what you were saying in regards to a change order could have taken place if it was something that the administration didn't include into the proposal or the request for the proposal. But I would like to see what the changes are. So I'm going to put on the record that I want to request to see, I want to know what the substantial changes are that need to take place before we reject these bids. We need additional information. We can't keep running and operating the business of the city in the dark. We're in the dark. We have questions when we get on council, when all we should have to be able to do is to read our packets, understand everything that's going on, not stating that it won't be debate or it won't be questions, but at least if we had the information, we would be more informed. Information is important. I wasn't done, Marge. I was still talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. No, I was just stating that I was still talking. So information is important. And it's not only important for the council, it's important for the public. So that when we make comment or make statement about the various things, then we have the ability to reiterate that information to the public, the taxpayers, the ratepayers. People need to know what their money is paying for. So I have a problem with supporting this. Thank you.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Cruz a question, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Cruz?
Someone needs to mute themselves.
Okay.
Someone needs to mute themselves.
Someone's speaking in the background.
Yes, I asked them to mute themselves.
Can I speak?
Yes, Councilwoman, you have the floor, but I keep hearing other people in the background that I've asked to mute themselves. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Mr. Cruz, were these bids open? Or were they opened?
I believe they were, Councilwoman. I don't have that information. Hold on. Let me take a look at the resolution.
Yeah, they're open, Councilwoman.
Yes,
that's why
they're open.
That's why
I'm speaking to Mr. Cruz, if you please.
Okay. I was just telling you, it's in our pack.
Mr. Cruz.
Hi.
So, Mr. Cruz, if those bids were opened, you have in fact exposed the bidding numbers.
Yes, but that does not preclude us from throwing out the bids. Yes, the prices were exposed, but that is when you find out whether you have the right prices for the work that you are looking to perform, or if you miss something, then you wanna amend it once the bid is open. Then we have that ability. I mean, one thing that you need to also remember is that these bids are only good for 60 days. And if this bid was open and this council chooses not to reject them, I mean, these bids are going to expire regardless. So it really is.
So instead of opening them up and exposing the bids, why didn't you just let the 50 days run out?
Well, that will be a question that the director will have to answer, Councilwoman. I don't have that answer as to why it is that they chose that. What I'm being told is that they need to make some changes to the specifications, and that is what the department heads do. And if they're telling me that that's what they need to do, then I support them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President?
Go right ahead, Councilwoman.
I just wanted to make statement based on what Mr. Cruz just said. Mr. Cruz is absolutely correct in his assessment in terms of them being expired, but I would, be in agreement, but we receive bids that have been outdated past 6 months. We can't pick and choose to say, oh, we're going to put this through even though it's old, and we're not going to put this through because it's old. We have to keep consistency within the city. We have to keep consistency within the government. We have to, because it looks like we're not being transparent with the residents and the taxpayers, the city. So let's at least keep it consistent, because if we're going to do that for this particular contractor, let's do it for all of the contractors and all of the contracts that were bought before us that were expired.
No,
Madam President, I'd like to answer.
Council President, if I may, I don't believe
the answer, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I like to answer because
Can I say something before Mr. Cruz speaks, Council President?
Go ahead, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Yeah, they're not supposed to bring expired bids to us. Maybe contracts that have expired, that's one thing. But bids, they can't bring expired bids to us. We wouldn't know they were expired.
So, Madam President, and I agree with Ms. Wilkins when she says that that we're bringing in bids that are older than 60 days. That is correct, but we have been getting the approvals from the vendors to hold prices until the bid comes in front of council. So that is something that was requested by this council. I believe it was you as well, some months ago, about 2-3 months ago. It was actually in the beginning of your term. And we went ahead and we started making sure that anything coming to you that was going to be older than 60 days had the letter from the vendor certifying that they were holding prices until the night of the vote. So we have been doing that. And it's not that we want to make lead the public in the wrong direction. Transparency, absolutely, 100%. And and again, you know what, I've said it before. You have the right to ask for anything. That's the purpose of these meetings. Those are the purpose of the Tuesday meetings, actually. And the Thursday meeting should be for voting. But we go Tuesday, Thursday, and I guess whatever other day you guys choose to. But we're here for that. The directors are here to answer questions. And if the concern arises on Tuesday and the document isn't there, listen, we have gone before. We've gone as far as pulling the item from the docket, the Tuesday meeting, so that the Thursday it isn't there. So we don't have a problem pulling them if that is the case.
Mr. Cruz.
Yes.
Out of the resolution is about opening these bids, and I'll say it again. There is no justification and you exposing that lowest bidder's bid to the rest of those bidders. I would prefer if you allow the bid to expire rather than to expose that lowest bidder, because now he doesn't stand a chance. And mind you, sometimes we have local contractors that aren't conglomerates or aren't doesn't have a big company, and when you expose their bids to those large companies, you take away all of their leverage. And so I don't agree with this at all. And I don't think that it's the right type of practice. And I've stated it before when we opened the bid before, and I made myself very clear then that I cannot support any bids that you open against that lowest bidder. I just can't support it. And so, Ms. Carter, you can move on to the vote.
Okay. Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson?
No.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Councilman Michelle?
No.
Councilman Rodriguez?
No.
Councilwoman Wilkins?
No.
Council President McBride?
No.
Failed. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is, no, I'm sorry. There's two walk-on resolutions. I'm not sure.
Well, there's only one, and that is the one for the clerk position. Just for the public, the public didn't have the opportunity to know that this was on the docket. Just for the public's edification, the city council put out advertisements. We put them out in 3 different places. Mr. Kaloji could speak to the 3 places that we ran the advertisement. Mr. Kaloji, it was the League of Municipalities and the Trenton City website and the Clerks Association website, right?
Yeah, we attempted to do 3, but we had a problem with the League of Municipalities. Apparently, we don't have the necessary relationship with them to advertise, but we did it on our website and we did it on the clerk's website. And the Division of Local Government Services was extremely pleased at the advertising that was done. So we're basically in conformity. We don't even have firm policy as far as hiring, say, directors and things, according to what we learned. We don't even have that firm of policy in place. So we basically went above and beyond what we needed to do in terms of advertising.
And we had received 2 very qualified candidates. Both the candidates were very qualified. We had the council did interviews, and then the council also did scoring sheets, and those things were put in place. And then once we did the scoring, we have the scoring sheets that will be scanned back into the system for the personnel department later on to put in their files. And the resolution that's coming before you tonight, this gentleman, he scored the highest. But as I stated, both the candidates were very very qualified and in their interviews. And so I just wanted to give you a little background before we brought the resolution forward. And Ms. Penny, you can read the resolution into the record.
It's a resolution appointing Brandon Luis Garcia as the city clerk for the city of Trenton, whereas there currently exists a vacancy in the office of the Trenton city clerk, And whereas pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-38, the City Council shall appoint a municipal clerk who shall perform such duties as required by law. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trenton that Brandon Luis Garcia, 20 Silver Lane, Burlington, New Jersey, 08016, be and hereby is appointed city clerk for a 3-year term starting July 1st, 2022, pursuant to NJSA 48:9-133, and it is further resolved that the compensation for said position shall be $122,000 per year, along with the benefits package received by all other employees. And it is further resolved that said appointment is expressly subject to necessary approvals by the Division of Local Government Services, a physical and a background check. And it is further resolved that this resolution shall take effect pursuant to law. And I need a motion to approve the resolution.
Council President.
So move.
Council President.
Wait, Mr. Wait a minute, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Harrison would like to speak.
Council President, this is a walk-on, right?
Yes.
This is a walk-on. Walk-on needs supermajority, right, Mr. Kaloji?
No, if the council president allows
Don't
it
you
on
have
the
to get a motion
agenda.
and a second first before you speak?
It's a walk-on. Why wouldn't walk-on need supermajority? I was told that many times.
No, you still need a motion.
I'll explain it in
and
a second.
Before you
Wait a
speak.
minute,
Okay,
Councilwoman is correct. Councilwoman is correct. Let us do the procedure. Go ahead, Councilwoman. You said that we need a second. Santiago made the
Second.
motion.
I did the second.
Okay. Go ahead now, Councilman Harrison.
If something's
Council-
being walked on, doesn't it need supermajority? Mr. Kaloji?
No,
Go ahead,
if
Mr.
the council president allows it on the agenda, it's on the agenda. If the council president will not allow a walk-on to be put on the agenda, it takes 5 votes of council to suspend the rule and to allow it on. But in this case, the council president has allowed it on.
So we're saying the rules for walk-on are different for the council president than they are for everybody else on the council.
The consistent rule we've been following, Councilman, is that the council president can put on the agenda a matter, but if she declines to put it on, a walk-on that a council person wants on, requires a 5-member vote to override, basically to suspend the rule and to allow it on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Penny Carter, you may move to the vote.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Abstain.
Councilman Michelle,
Abstain.
Councilman Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes. Miss Carter, can I make a statement? I want to make a statement before we go into the public comment. I would just like to thank all of my colleagues again, because everyone did an excellent job of coming out to the interviews. We had a couple hiccups in the road, but everybody did a good job. They did the interviews, the ones that could, and there were a couple that could not make the interviews. But I would like to thank my colleagues for doing their job, for doing their duty to get this person on. And I would like again to thank Ms. Penny Carter again for coming into Trenton and helping us out when we didn't have a clerk and we were so desperate and we were in a desperate need of a clerk. I'd like to thank you again, Ms. Penny Carter. I know that there's been a lot of hiccups in the process down the road. But again, I want to extend my gratitude to you for coming in to assist us. And again, I would like to thank all of my colleagues, and I would just like the public to know that this will be the very first time that there has been an Hispanic clerk in the city of Trenton, and I welcome him as the first Hispanic candidate to be voted on to the council again. And I'd like to thank my colleagues again. Ms. Penny Carter, we can move to the public comment. I believe the public comment is next.
Yes, public comment is next. So I need a motion to, for public comments.
So moved.
And I second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson, are you going to help me out here? Because I can't see any hands or anything on
yes.
this iPad.
I can only see one hand raised. Oh no, there's two. First one is Sherry Garrett.
Ms. Garrett, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Council President and Council Body. I've already spoke on the second one. The only thing my concern is with, I want to thank the council, but well, mainly the ones who didn't pass the ordinance for the appropriations. And Council President, you're absolutely right. The only thing that should be brought to you as far as appropriations would be the salaries. You're absolutely on point, because right now we can't. I foresee that the council, you don't know what's going on, and the administration has not been transparent as far as the 4 years. Matter of fact, I've sat on some, not sat on, but I've been at some councils meetings prior to this council, and they would just rubber stamp. I mean, just everything and anything, they just passed it. I'm like, how the heck? In regards to the clerk, the hiring of this new clerk, thank you, Ms. Penny Carter. I met you. I got to meet you in person in the clerk's office. You are a delightful woman. I hope we'll, somehow, some way you would be involved. Maybe with the deputy, I don't know if you would take this. I'm just throwing it out there. I know we need a deputy clerk, and I know we approved that position, but it has not. I haven't heard that the council have interviewed for that. So we do need a deputy clerk. It was nice to hear Matthew Collins, hear him on the call, and he will be missed. I have to say I apologize how your tenure ended. It's really sad, but you will be missed, and hopefully this new clerk has done. Clerks have worked in other municipalities, have an idea, because right now we have an election coming up. My concern is, will he be able to staff the clerk's office? Does he have very good managerial skills? Does he have the skills to get some of these past meetings up on the website, the minutes done? Will he be hiring people who would be competent, they can hit the ground running, meaning hire them for whatever roles, or revive the resumes or the positions there in the clerk's office where they have responsibility. We do need people in the clerk's office to help keep a count of all these monies that are being brought before the council. We also need someone who has a strong typing and computer skills, and hopefully the council will be or Mr. Colosio, someone for a PR person, because the council is the voice of the people, and I the campaign that's been engineered for the last 4 years against the council by this current mayor it's been horrific. It's been very horrific, and how he has come at the throat of our prior clerk was terrible. It was very terrible, and we'll see if how that plays out as Councilman Harrison has stated many times at the polls. But that's all. Thank you.
Next person is Caldwell Wilson. I see an NJB hand up. Is that the next person? Are you on the phone, NJB?
Yes, I'm here.
All right,
I'm not going to
right
be
ahead.
so. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be long. I just wanted to give a comment that, I don't always agree. Hello?
State your name, sir.
Oh, my name is Brother Anthony Johnson. I live on Hamilton Avenue, 737.
Okay, great.
And
Thank you.
I'll be very brief. The thing with this, I don't really agree with everything that Council President says many times, but the fact of the matter is this mayor should only have access to pay salaries of the city employees, nothing else. I agree with that 100%. There's too many question marks in his previous record. There's too many question marks on his present record, and we definitely need to question his ability in the future. So that's all I have to say. And Councilman, that's going to leave here and go to Florida. Good luck. Thank you for your service, and that's it.
Thank you,
Council
Councilwoman.
President, would you ask them to remove their hands?
Yes,
when they stop
take your
speaking?
hand down, sir. Once you've spoken. NJB. Go ahead, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Okay. And Mrs. C. Trenton Business.
Okay. Miss Trenton Business. Miss Caldry.
Yeah, sorry, it takes me a minute to unmute. Yes, my name is Miss Chowdhury. Can I go ahead?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. I wanted again to just talk about police brutality and issues concerning police reform here in Trenton. Police brutality continues to be a major issue here in Trenton. What happened to Henderson is not an off incident. It was just the most recent. We have Stephen Dulciamore, we have Joseph R. Now we have Judge Juan Henderson. It's part of a pattern. We have also a pattern of police not getting not being held accountable for their actions. I recently contacted the prosecutor's office to find out what was happening with Tara, I think, Jurjok's case. She had knocked out somebody's teeth here in Trenton and also blackened both her eyes. The woman that she attacked was only about 4'8", pretty diminutive. Nonetheless, Tara got away. Well, until this, I think she's gotten away with this for about a decade. I think that not only should, but interestingly, I was told that this was not an open record, that I was not able to find out whether she was being prosecuted, whether, what her charges are, when her trial is going to be. And the interesting thing is that suspects here in Trenton, who are just suspects of crimes, have their pictures put on not only, the Trentonian and other public venues, but they also get their pictures put on like the police blotter supported by Trenton Police. But Trenton Police doesn't want to give up one of their own because their brotherhood is more important than justice. Their brotherhood and their solidarity to each other is more important than truth too often. It's more important than justice too often. But anyway, I couldn't get information on her, but she's, another example of police brutality here in Trenton. She's married to the head of the police union. I support her. He was going on for her and a family member, but obviously he wasn't. So I think that we have a long way to go with police reform. I don't think that we're going to be able to. I think that it's how should I say this? It has complicated ties to other matters in Trenton. It affects our business. It affects our quality of life. Of course, it affects our safety. It even affects our education when our criminal system is failing this badly, not only with the police, of course, with the judicial system. To this end, I wanted to just, once again, I'm going to continue beating this drum until there's real and palpable systemic change, until there's a real and true paradigm shift in how policing is happening in Trenton. Our police officers make over $100,000. They get very expensive pensions and expensive payouts for, stress leave and all kinds of, injury leave. So they're a major part of our Trenton budget. And when you're looking at we're looking at an area which is so affected by poverty, which is one of the highest poverty areas. We can't afford to pay police pensions, and we can't afford police lawsuits when they're not doing their job, when we are not afforded any kind of protections. So I just wanted to reemphasize that we need to support and institute a forcible civilian review board, which has subpoena power, which is not toothless. We need to enforce licensing for these police, just like barbers get licensed. Excuse me. We need to defund police unions. They are not an extension of the state. We need to end qualified immunity. Lawsuits should be paid from police pensions. And we need to stop this kind of sick marriage of police unions and politicians in the state, because they're here for the public. They're not here for the state. I think there's a lot of very unhealthy roots of it. I think there's a lot of unhealthy effects of it, but I do see it as being, a consistent. The other thing I wanted to comment on was opening, operating a business in Trenton has its unique challenges. In particular, it's an area that has been decimated and mistreated through a lot of antiquated policies. I think there's a real opportunity with this business coming in. And if this business is coming in, I think that they should, I'm curious to know what their outreaches are going to be into Trenton. A similar thing happened in Atlantic City, and the residents were promised all kinds of benefits, all kinds of side income and other benefits of having the casinos come to Atlantic City, but nothing really happened. In fact, the needle didn't move on the condition of your average resident in Atlantic City. If anything, it stayed the same. And so those promises really didn't go too far. So I just think that we have a unique opportunity to not that situation. So I'm curious if they could address it, how they're going to be a proactive partner in hiring within Trenton, mentorship programs, maintaining the historical value of these neighborhoods and buildings, and perhaps reaching out and creating some proactive programs. I don't think they can be a socialist kind of enterprise, but they can increase it even in a capitalistic, competitive manner. They can bring a lot to Trenton. And that's the end of my comments. The woman who is yawning and falling asleep, you should just log off. If you're tired, you should go to sleep. Thanks. Bye.
Miss Garrett, could you please put your hand down?
Yes, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson, I have a question to ask you. Did we do, this is for you and Mrs. Councilwoman Wilkins. Did we vote on 22-204, the ARPA funding that was untabled? Because I don't see it.
Did we? I can't hear you, Sonia.
It's Kathy. It's Kathy.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
No,
Sonia
but
was going to say
my mouth
something.
was moving. I don't know. I don't know if it was a part of the.
I was asking Caldwell Wilson, did we vote on 22 204.
That's why I said I was going to look at my agenda. It may have been on the consent agenda.
Yes, Council President, you untabled it on Tuesday.
No.
Yeah, we untabled it. I just need to make sure that we voted on it. I know we untabled it, but I don't remember Ms. Carter calling
I don't
that one
remember
out.
voting on it, but either.
Who has that resolution? Who has that?
I don't have
Where's
mine.
that?
I don't.
22-204. Is Ms. Richardson? Is Director Richardson on the line?
Yes, Council President, I am.
Yes. Do you happen to have Resolution 22-204 in your site?
Yes,
Because
we can send it to Miss Carter to see if she can display it.
Can you do that? I don't know what Ms. Carter.
Paul Harris, are you on the line?
Yeah, I have the resolution here. I could show
Do
it.
you want Council President
No,
Paul Harris to read it to the
Let
record?
him put it on. Let him put it on his screen, and I can read it from his screen.
Yeah, it wasn't on my docket.
It was untabled. Mr. Harris, can you put it on the screen?
Yeah, I just the IT has to. Okay.
No, on your screen.
Okay,
instead of your picture.
I'm gonna do it. Hold on.
Yeah, IT has to make you an administrator.
Here we go. Can you see it now?
Okay.
Thank you,
Oh,
Paul.
no, we did not vote on this. The resolution. Miss Penny Carter, excuse me. I'm going to ask the public to finish your public comments, and then after you finish your public comments, we'll come back because this resolution was not voted on tonight.
So let me unshare my screen then.
Yes. So you could take it down for now, and then we'll finish the public comment because the public portion of this meeting is important. So, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson, can you please give me the next speaker for the public?
Yes, it's someone who's calling in, 609-396-2050.
Could you please announce yourselves?
Where the key?
Caller?
Yes, it's Faith Ann Pearson.
Go right ahead, Ms. Pearson.
In referencing to this ordinance for the new clerk, I have no heartburn with it, but I was under the impression from listening to a lot of long, dragged out arguments with Vaughn that you want most all of the city council and all these directors and all the city officials to be city residents. This gentleman's now coming out of Burlington. Is he planning on moving to the city? Or is his position no longer a specific city resident with qualification?
No, Miss Pearson, that's a very good question. And the answer to that is when you have your applications out into the field and you don't get anyone into the immediate surroundings, and then you can go outside of the community to look for the talent. And so that's what we had to do because we had two very, very good candidates, but they were both from outside of the city limits, and we had no one that applied inside the city. And the law does allow you to get help from outside of the city if you can't find it inside. If you can't find the talent within the city. I hope that answered your question. Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson, the next person.
Caitlin Fair.
Go right ahead, Ms. Fair.
Good evening, Council. Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson. I just wanted to speak primarily to the conversation about mental health that was had earlier. I've worked in community mental health for over a decade. And I just really want to caution people against villainizing mental health support and services, especially in communities where mental health has already been historically deeply stigmatized. People inside the field and outside the field have been working for a long time to undo that stigma so that people can access the support they need to be healthy and well. And just to give a little bit of context, in terms of youth, which is my primary population, the youth suicide rate, and specifically that of Black and Brown children, has steadily risen over the last several years. Specifically, since 2017, suicide has been the second leading cause of death in all youth ages 10 to 19. And rates of suicide among Black youth in particular have risen faster than in any other racial and ethnic group in the past 2 decades, with suicide rates in Black males ages 10 to 19 increasing by 60%. And early adolescent Black youth are twice as likely to die by suicide as compared to their white counterparts. So this is a public health crisis that we're talking about in this community specifically. If you are not familiar with mental health programs in this city, the community mental health programs throughout this city all have months-long waiting lists. There is a need here, and creating positions within the city that will support residents in accessing those services is a critical need. Navigating the mental health care system is not simple, unfortunately, and having people who can support residents in getting the support that they need is vital to saving lives. It's literally suicide prevention. Beyond that, to another comment that was brought up, I can guarantee you that people are not doing community mental health work because they're in it for the money. Community mental health, of all things, is not a quote cash cow. If anyone knows anything about Medicaid reimbursement rates or the pay rate for direct service mental health professionals in community mental health practices, they know that. The fact is that we really need way more competent and responsible mental health professionals in the field, but it's hard to attract them because of, one, the financial burden of the education and training that it requires, and two, the subsequent pay that you get from being in the field. And lastly, on this particular matter, just to clarify, as Santiago stated and Dr. Lopez also reiterated, a clinical psychologist is not qualified to prescribe medication, nor is that the purview of such a professional. Only psychiatrists and advanced practice psychiatric nurses are qualified to do that. So that would not be something that this individual in this position would even be qualified or able to do. And then the last thing that I want to just be clear about, unrelated to mental health, is that in regards to the resolution that was put forth about limiting public comment, I'm a Trenton resident, so this doesn't even apply to me because I'm going to say what I have to say. But I can clearly say that people from outside of Trenton giving public comment is absolutely not why y'all meetings are long. So I just want to be very clear about that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. The next person, Councilwoman Paula Wilson.
Yes, Caitlin, could you put your hand down, please?
Yeah.
Citizen 2.
Yes, my name is
Citizen
Matthew.
2.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. My name is Matthew Conlon. I live in Atlantic City, New Jersey. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Garcia on his new position, and I wish him every luck and every good endeavor. It was my honor to be the last clerk of the city of Trenton, and I wish him the best of fortune in his new position. Second off, I wanted to speak to the resolution with regard to public comment. It is important to allow people from outside of Trenton to express opinions, to come to public comment, and to engage in the city. Not only is it the state capital, but it is one of our 10th largest cities, and it is a center of economic commerce. And in order to engage in the necessary conversations with the city council, public comment from citizens outside of Trenton are necessary. Moreover, it's necessary in cases like the following instance. It was necessary for me to take care of some administrative matters in the past week. Some of that dealt with business with the city of Trenton. In my correspondence with the city of Trenton, I received an email from the law director of the city of Trenton. The email was somewhat concerning, and the emails that followed were also extremely concerning. The email specifically said I would tell you to do your job too, but you don't have one, comma, laugh out loud, exclamation point. The emails that followed were then indeed job descriptions for manual labor jobs of various sorts, which were completely and totally inappropriate, and not just one, but two separate emails. That is of deep concern to me that your directors would put out such a message and taunt people using their public email. So that is something that I do intend on following up with the city of Trenton. But also, I saw something on actually Google, which actually compelled me to come to the meeting tonight. And as a former city clerk and someone who holds elections near and dear to his heart, I saw what was a deeply concerning message being broadcast on the City of Trenton website in a big banner. And secured a screenshot of it because I do believe that it may actually qualify as an election law violation. But right now on the City of Trenton website, it says Mayor Gussiora addresses City Council's negligent actions. Mayor W. Reed Gussiora today excoriated the City Council majority members led by Council President Kathy McBride for neglecting its responsibilities and creating dangerous conditions for residents and business owners in the city. I must remind the administrative staff that the website is not a personal banner for personal and political messages, but it is rather a public information tool for the information of the citizens of the city of Trenton. I do believe that the message and the full ad that has been published, and is not only that, but is part of a Google subscriber message as well, and it actually comes with the TrentonNJ.org. It's a political message favoring a political candidate in an upcoming mayoral election. And that is completely and totally inappropriate. And it is posted on the city's website right now, and it really should be removed. Specifically because it is pointing at the name at specific potential opposing candidates, and it's being used for political purpose. This is taxpayer dollars being used to forward the efforts of a political candidate. It is a message from the mayor excoriating the city council. That is not a public information message. If the mayor wishes to go to a news media outlet or use his personal social media to do so, that would be the most appropriate outlet. But this is absolute misuse of public funds and public resources. And the members who not only posted it, but were responsible for it being posted should be held responsible. That's all I have to say. I just, I have many health challenges ahead of me, and that is the reason for my resignation. That's not really a secret anymore. That's, I really wish that I could have continued the mantle. I really enjoyed serving this council. I really enjoyed serving the citizens of the city of Trenton, and I wanted to thank anybody who spoke up, tonight or previously. Thank you for the kind words. It really meant a lot to help as many people in the city of Trenton as was possible. Thank you very much. I hope not to have to bother you all again with this, but I am deeply upset by a taunting email and bullying and harassment even after I had resolved my issues with the city of Trenton, and that did not seem to be good enough. And I will not be bullied or harassed or intimidated using an official city email for which I have forwarded to the appropriate authorities. Please do not allow that to happen again. I will.
Thank
you. In a manner that is befitting, who I am. I'm a private citizen. I will not, from an official email, I should not be taunted or harassed, and I'm asking that stop, and that's my request to this council. So, whoever is in the background talking, I believe that's Mr. Michelle or somebody. If they could please stop interrupting me, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve, Council President. It was my pleasure to serve you. Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, it was my pleasure to serve you as the executive committee of the council. You are both two of the best supervisors I have ever had in my entire life. Thank you. It was an honor. It was an honor to serve the city.
And I turned around. I didn't interrupt you at all. So you had the wrong person again.
Sir, you are interrupting me now.
The wrong person again.
Sir, you
This
are
isn't
interrupting
public-
me
This
now.
is public comment.
So regardless of what I say, Mr. Michelle, you should not be interrupting me at all, sir.
Once again, you're wrong
You
again.
are not able to contain yourself. You do not have the temperament for this position, in my opinion. And I'm sorry that you continue to interrupt me and treat me with disrespect. But that is your prerogative, sir.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much once again for allowing me to serve you. It was my honor. I wish the city of Trenton the best. It is a great city, and it should be a mantle of state capitals and a mantle of cities that are made up of a very diverse community to the world. And it can be that mantle if the right leadership makes the right decisions. Good luck. God bless.
Thank you. Carwell Wilson, is there someone else?
Yes, Lydia Thornton. Mr. Conlon,
Go right
could you
ahead,
take your
Ms.
hand
Thornton.
down,
Could
please?
Citizen 2 take their hand down? Could you ask Mr. Conlon to take his hand down? Go right ahead, Ms. Thornton.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm following that. Okay. I actually had a really simple request, whether we're getting a new clerk, whether, however, excuse me, however the office is going to be run. There has not been the agenda and dockets posted on the city website in that section publicly for many months, since even before Mr. Conlon left. They're emailed to private individuals, and if you're lucky enough to know who gets them, then you can get a copy. But that's really, to my understanding, not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be posted. And I don't understand why that's difficult to put the docket and the agenda in the spot under the date on the site. It's for the public. This meeting really is for Trentonians to know what's going on. And particularly on Tuesdays, when we have to speak only to the docket, it's difficult to do when you're just hearing the docket while y'all are meeting about it, and you can't do any reading ahead of time or see what's going to be discussed. That was one point. My other point really was more about some of the properties that are being sold inexpensively in the city. And in some ways, I'm all for that. If city residents are getting an opportunity to get and rehab a property or a house that they're going to live in, that's great. But could we formalize the program instead of having one here, one there, appear that they're getting a deal or treatment because of their story or something in that line? There are hundreds of abandoned houses in this town that aren't fully falling apart, decrepit yet, that could be restored. I live in West Ward. I live up West State Street, and there are more boarded houses on this street that are gorgeous, historic homes that are being allowed to sit. My suggestion is twofold. One, jack up the vacant property fee every year so that these folks who buy them and just board them up and sit on them waiting aren't as comfortable doing that. If I only had to pay, $1,000 or so a year to do that, plus taxes, that's an easy way to see when the property's finally going to go up, instead of making it a viable house again and a home for people. Secondly, open it to the public. Create a list, not just of auctions that last time were jacked through the roof by out-of-towners, but for people who genuinely want to serve the city by creating home ownership, either for themselves, their family, or maybe somebody else. Because we talk constantly about, oh, scary Trenton, oh, all the buildings are falling down. Well, we've allowed that. And I say we collectively, granted this council's only been in place for almost 4 years, but we collectively have allowed that for a decade or more. We have whole city blocks of boarded houses that are just sitting. Why? Some of them can still be redeemed. So it's just putting an idea out there for getting employment in the city with, you know, the young people contracting, building, all that stuff, and recreating beauty in the city instead of always walking by and looking at what isn't there anymore. So thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate you all. Have a good evening.
Next person in line, Councilwoman.
Madison Luckenball.
Go right ahead. Ms.
Hi,
Luckenball.
Council President and Council
Oh,
members.
this is Madison. I apologize.
This is Madison.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Madison.
Thank you so much. So I am a resident of the city of Trenton, and this is the first time I'm speaking about this topic. I will make this brief. We need to hire to properly staff the animal shelter immediately. These are lives of animals and public health risks associated with the current situation. These positions are all necessary to ensure that the shelter is staffed appropriately for the amount of hours per week needed to properly vet the animals that come in, provide medical care such as administering medications, and walk the dogs that are stressed out in this environment. When these positions are filled by the city, we can ensure that volunteers are able to supplement the city, provide education to the city of Trenton on animal welfare, and allow for dogs to be assessed and adopted out with the knowledge that these families are adopting dogs that will not pose a health risk or other public harm to the city. What are we doing to ensure that the animal shelter is properly staffed with a shelter manager, animal welfare positions, behavioral assessors, veterinarian positions? What are we doing about this? We cannot leave these positions open so that the animals suffer, because if the animals suffer, it comes back to the city and poses a public health risk or other harm to us that are living in the city of Trenton. I think it's unfair that those in the city of Trenton do not have the same animal welfare that those in the suburbs have. It's not fair, and we are unfortunate to be in this position. Thank you.
The next person, Councilwoman.
I don't see anyone else.
Is there anyone on the phones?
Keelan Stat.
If there's no one on the phone?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, this is Keelan Scott.
Yes, state your name.
Keelan Scott of Lodi, New Jersey, but I'm a resident of New Jersey. I'd like to speak.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm calling about to bring more awareness to the CCRB bill that was taking the tooth away. It was lowered, having to do lowering of the power that the bill had, having to do with the Civilian Review Board in New Jersey. Then I'm standing and saying that we need to, as residents of New Jersey, stand behind this bill to give civilian power over police and police brutality in the state. I understand that people may feel that there are other issues at hand. However, I would urge the New Jersey residents here listening, as well as the council people listening, to understand that although it may not be as frequent of a problem, police misconduct, brutality, whatever you want to call it, and although people in this call may not have experienced it, and others, it may be less than 1%, I'm understanding now, of the USA. It is gravely important for morale reasons and for the First and Second Amendment and what we created this country to be, that we don't have abuse of power of authority. I'm reading a book that says here that the Bill of Rights, the most important thing was to make sure that the government does not have control over
its people, that the people have control over the government. However, it seems that things have flipped around in this country at some point. And what I'm trying to urge and say is that any type of abuse of power in this country should not be tolerated by us citizens, or should not be tolerated by those in government who don't like that. Why is this the most important? This is the most important thing because if you have a country, I've been saying this for a while now, if you have a country, specifically this country that was started from the genesis of trying to break away from abuse of power of Britain, that we have now become hypocrites of our own genesis of why we've started this country to begin with. And it's honestly a shame. I know that when I'm speaking, people might think that I'm crazy. People might think that I'm speaking out of my mouth, that I don't know what I'm talking about. However, I am a victim myself of this abuse of power. My wife is as well. When we were attacked 4 years ago by Fort Lee police in New Jersey and Bergen County Sheriff's Department, while we were grieving over the body and of our beloved brother, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, and we got attacked. And you'd have to just take my word for it that the police did do this for no means. Why did they do this by no means? Because the police/government understood that they would not be held accountable. What is accountability? Accountability means that the police officers in that instance and across this country and other abusive government officials, such as mostly police and mostly prosecutors, understand that they are not going to be prosecuted. They are not going to go to jail. They are not going to have the basic disciplines that us civilians of the United States of America have. They have immunity. They act with impunity. What is impunity? Impunity is the belief, the understanding that you know that you will not be prosecuted, disciplined by appropriate means of those that are a higher force than you. CCRB bill originally was made by Angela McKnight, was to ensure that there is subpoena power and investigatory power and parallel investigatory power. What is parallel investigatory power? That means that when a citizen complains about the police that they got knocked on their head or beaten up or whatever it is, when they go to the Civilian Review Board, there will be a parallel simultaneous investigation with the Internal Affairs. What is Internal Affairs? Internal Affairs is a made-up place that has where you can go to complain about the police to the police. Obviously, there is a issue with that. The CCRB bill wants to make sure that the original one that has been watered down is supposed to make sure that there is a simultaneous investigation going on that the CCRB has while the internal affairs are going on. However, as of right now, as it stands, the Assembly and the Senate both were in agreement for 120 days after the internal affairs was their investigation. So I bring that up because according to the Bill of Rights, we are supposed to have more power, not the government. So there is a contradiction going on here. I'm only speaking of what the government originally said, our forefathers, George Washington, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These people are the people that said that they were more afraid of the government overtaking because they experienced that abuse. So my time may be coming to a close. I urge you, fellow Americans, to not let the government overabuse its power. Make sure that you know your rights, because if it's not too late, you will end up like me. Look at your bills, look at your rights, look at the CCRB bill, look it up, and enforce your assembly and your senators to give you the power and not them the power, because you could end up like me, or worse, George Floyd. Goodbye.
Next person, Councilwoman.
I don't see any other hands up.
Anybody else on the phone? If not, I move to close public comment. I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Harris, can you please put your, we have to vote to close public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Harris, could you put that a resolution back on the screen for me, please?
Sure. Sam, give me control, please. Okay, share. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, I can.
This is the original resolution, Council President.
Council President, I believe the amount is amended though.
Correct.
What is, okay, so which one are we would have to amend that on the floor?
So I added little comment bubbles here. You can see the original resolution is 1.3. The updated amount is $1,486,253.80.
Okay, well, that would have to be amended on the floor. Mr. Kaloji, Mr. Bridges.
Yes, ma'am.
This has to be amended on the floor.
If the amount is different, that's correct.
Alrighty, so somebody need to do their job to get it amended.
First motion is to amend.
Pardon me? First, we have to have a motion to
amend.
We have to have a motion to amend.
So moved.
I second it.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez, Councilman Rodriguez. I guess he's absent. Councilwoman Vaughn. Councilwoman Wilkins.
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
Motion to
So
amend was carried.
So the amendment will be $1,486,000, is that? And $86, 253.80.
Right.
Ms. Carter, would you please make that change? And
yes.
Is there anywhere else that the numbers in the whereas have to be amended too, because it won't total up to this amount? What is the difference? What is the difference? You have to, those dollar amounts have to change. Do you have the amounts? Do you have the amounts that were changed by line item for the
Yes.
$21 hour? So what are those? What are those numbers?
Do you like me to read? So for Public Works, you're going from it's going to be $583,652.16.
You have to give it to Miss Penny Carter so she can write it down. 500. 586. What's the rest?
583.
583.
652.16.
583. What's the second number?
Second number is going to be, this is parking facilities. Second number is going to be 314,274.24.
What is the park security?
Park security is 382 398.17.
And the recreation
Recreation
employees.
is 28,060.20.
Give me that number again. 28.
28,060.20.
So that number went down,
Yes.
and the clerk's office.
There are two amendments. In the left,
Mhm.
it went from 4 to 6.
Yes.
And then the amount,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then the amount is 52,655.
See, clerk, I had to write this number down because I have to make sure that we get this right. Okay, and the it went from 37 to 52.
52,653.51.
Okay, and then did the potential overtime rate stay the same?
Oh, no. So the subtotal is going to, the subtotal for all of these line items is
Mm-hmm.
$1,361,038.28.
Okay, and then the approximate overtime.
Overtime is $125,215.52.
125,000. And what? 125,000 and what else? I didn't get the rest. Oh, okay, I got it. You got it on the screen. 215.52. I didn't see that on the screen until just now.
Yeah, I'm posting in real time.
Okay.
And your
All right.
grand total will be that
Right.
$1,486,253.80.
Miss Carter, do you have all the numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. The only one I don't have is that first one. I got five.
There it is.
Let me get the first one, 583, because I don't know why I got 583, 620, 652, 16 cents. Okay. Thank you.
Council President, can we scroll down so I can see the other whereases?
Okay.
No, the other way.
Oh, scroll up. Okay.
All the way.
all,
No more.
all the way up, March? Okay, let me go through.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Let me just
I'll
do
tell
like
you when. Okay. I
there.
just want to check. I want to check the second whereas to make sure those numbers are correct.
Oh, you want us to check the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds published by provided 70,000. Yeah, those were the funds that we collected in the first year. The total amount, and then the first year, and then the second year.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Alrighty, so everything has been read into the record, Ms. Carter, as
Yes.
far as the change. Mm.
Do you
So
want
now
to
we
move
would
adoption of the amended resolution?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilman Michelle,
Yes.
Councilman Rodriguez. Oh, that's right, he's absent. Vaughn is absent. Councilwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
It carried.
Seeing that there's no more business, we can move to civic comment. Council woman Caldwell Wilson.
Yes, I'm sorry that Mr. Rodriguez is absent because I just wanted to wish him and his family well in their new home and thank him for his community service throughout the years in the city of Trenton. I just wanted to wish him well. And I want to thank the audience for their participation tonight. Your input is valuable to us. Other than that, everyone have a great night. Thank you.
Councilman Harrison.
I would like to start off with 22-20. I would like to thank my colleagues for supporting that seasonal positions. In a day, we have a lot of work that's got to get done in this great city, so we need as much help as we can get. Let's see. I also would like to say to my colleagues that support that at the end of the day, I believe everybody should be able to speak, no matter from the city of Trenton or not. It is a little strange that we want to make people from outside the city not speak. And if you apply for a position, you can get a waiver, and I think that's a little disingenuous. I think at the end of the day, you're telling people outside the city they can't speak, but if you want to work here, we'll give you a waiver. Also, regarding the rolling block 2, there's actually 5 proposals. Council President, when are we going to have the other 4 proposals? Do we have a time frame for those other 4? Council President? All right, well, I'll just let everybody know there are 5 proposals for the rolling block 2. There was 1. If there is no other 4 that the council gets a look at, you might want to question yourself. At the end of the day, what is going on here? There's 5 proposals. I think all 5 should be looked at. So at the end of the day, not just 1, all 5. So they all should be looked at by this council, all 5 proposals, not just 1. Let's see. Well, it also, at the end of the day, tomorrow is Juneteenth. So there's going to be a lot of events around the city. There'll be a lot of people out in the community doing community service. So at the end of the day, it's great to see the people of the city come together. Also, I'm not sure what happened with my colleague. I'm not sure if she's had some health issues or what. She was on a meeting and then I don't know what happened, but maybe somebody could check and see what happened. But, maybe she had some problems. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, we got a lot of work to get done. So hopefully we continue to move along and move the city forward. Like I said, we, the people of the city, want to see stuff get done. So at the end of the day, we should be asking that, like you said, the clerk's office get the staffing they need because they need staffing. I'd like to thank, from the bottom of my heart, Penny Carter, wonderful woman, beautiful heart, always had a smile on her face, came in there, worked hard, always had a way about brighten up your day. So, Miss Carter, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you in our city. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And everybody else have a happy Juneteenth day. Thank you.
Councilman Mushow.
Yes, I'd just like to thank Penny Carter. It was very nice for you to come in and bail us out when we were over our head with this clerk's office. I'd just like to thank you over and over again for helping us out to get through this disaster. And that's all I have to say. Good night. Thank you.
Councilman Rodriguez is no longer with us. Councilwoman Wilkins.
Yes, good evening. First, I want to thank Councilman Rodriguez. I want to say thank you, thank you. Thank you for your service, your love and your dedication to the city of Trenton, the residents. I wish you well in all that you do in your future with your daughter and your grandson. Congratulations on the things you were able to accomplish in the last 4 years for being on council and what you have been able to accomplish moving forward in your future endeavors. I want to thank Ms. Penny Edwards Carter. I don't know if she will be, at our next meeting, but I want to take this opportunity to thank her so much for coming in and filling in when we desperately needed assistance and we needed help. You are truly appreciated. I also wanted to welcome Brandon Garcia as our new clerk. Brandon, after meeting with him and discussing some things with him, and Brandon knowing the city of Trenton well, as he made mention of various areas and streets in the city, hopeful and I believe that Brandon can hit the ground running to get our clerk's office back in order so that we can get back on track and moving forward with what we need to do as the statutory office of the clerk's office for the city of Trenton. And lastly, I just wanted to make mention that the summer help for the resolution that was just passed to bring on the youth, to bring on college students, to interns and seasonal workers, it was stated that I didn't support hiring Trentonians to work, to give Trentonians jobs. That was an untruth. And I just want to set the record straight that Mayor Riga Sorio put that out, that I didn't want to help citizens, that I wanted to stop 70 people from working in the city of Trenton to take care of their homes, to take care of their children and their families, and to be able to take care of themselves. That was an untrue statement. My passion and the reason why I initially tabled the resolution was to get people more money, to make things even and to make things fair across the board, especially for our laborers. I come from being an employee of the city of Trenton. I know what it's like to have to struggle to hope to get promotions and just to have the door shut in your face, to not be able to attain any of it, no matter how hard you work, due to favoritism, nepotism, cronyism, and all the other isms. So that was very untrue to state that I wouldn't want to help the residents. This is what I'm here for, the residents of the city of Trenton. Whether it's to get them employed, to get them information they need so that people are informed, people can receive services. But what I did is I wanted to ensure that those that would come on seasonally would get more money, especially the laborers. The laborers are the employees who were essential during the COVID-19 pandemic. I was retired at the time, but there was not a day that my garbage went missed. I know that the solid waste workers, the street workers, the transportation workers, the people that worked in recreation, they were doing their due diligence. The people that work for the Department of Health and Human Services coming in, making sure services were rendered. There is no way, as an employee, as being once an employee, would ever want to stop another employee or a potential employee from having the ability to be able to make it, because I know what struggle is like. But I want to thank the workers of this city, the potential workers of this city, and any future workers that come to work for this city to provide services that the taxpayers pay for. I'm a taxpayer myself. That is paid for from your service and from your work. I would never want to see anyone not progress, ever. So it was an untrue statement made about me to say that I didn't want to hire any citizens or future employees for the city of Trenton, seasonal or otherwise. I want to thank the citizens that are on this call for your continual support, your continual civic engagement. Get to know the truth for yourself. Because what I have seen this last month, what I have read, what I have witnessed, and what is going on in this city is atrocious. Learn for yourself. Do your own research. People will send you their own narratives and their own agendas and cause an entire uproar to make you believe something that is untrue. But what is true is that we're under 5 subpoenas, 3 with the state and 2 with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And what I find so unfair is that the media isn't covering any of it. So no one is informed as to what is really going on. Do your own research. I implore you to do your own research, to find the truth for yourself, to become informed, to become knowledgeable of knowing how city government works, how things operate. It's so much easier to believe a lie. But I wanted to take the time to inform you myself so that you heard it from me personally. Thank you all again for attending the meeting. I yield my time, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to first thank all of the residents and non-residents that are on the line this evening. Your opinion matters, and I tell you that each and every time we host these meetings. I would just like to thank. I wanted to just spend a little bit of time thanking him for his service. I wanted to say, long before Councilman Rodriguez came onto the council, he was an advocate for the residents in the city of Trenton. And as he stated when he spoke, that he will continue to advocate for the city of Trenton because the city of Trenton is a place that he calls home. I want to thank him so much for his interaction with us and for stating one of the most important things in his comments, that this council does stand out because we have never been a rubber stamp. We have never allowed anyone to just tell us that it was raining when the sun was shining. So I thank you, Councilman Rodriguez, for your service and for your advocacy for the city of Trenton. We appreciate you, and you will be missed. And so hopefully we will see you from time to time on the council meetings. And again, I've already extended my thanks and my gratitude to Ms. Carter for answering the call, the 3 o'clock in the morning call for the city of Trenton. We appreciate you, Ms. Carter. And we look forward to continuously working with you in the very near future. And again, thank you so much for your service. And I would like to welcome Mr. Garcia on. Mr. Garcia comes with a lot of experience, and I look forward to working with him. As you see that we have gotten the ARPA money passed, and the city clerk's office will get six interns, summer help, and one will be two, I believe, will be permanent, or at least for 6 months, I believe. So we do have some staff coming on board, and Mr. Garcia has been given, well, not Mr. Garcia himself, but the state has given us the green light to actually hire in the clerk's office. And just for the public, the clerk's office is a statutory office. And when you take the staff out of that office, under the law, you should replace it. The staff was taken out of the office for whatever the reason, but the city had over 1,400 employees, and they should have restaffed the office. Someone said earlier, there's the resolutions and the ordinances aren't making it onto the 360 web page. No, there's only 2 people in the clerk's office. We only have 2 employees in there. 2, and Ms. Carter made the 3rd person. So there was no one there. But DCA knew that there was no one there, and they did nothing to assist. Nothing. Mr. Collin has been gone since February, and they did nothing to assist us. You talk about the budget, as I stated earlier, the budget was introduced to us without any backup revenue, any reports, nothing. So those are some of the reasons that the clerk's office is in the position that it's in, because the staff was removed and it wasn't replenished. I want to talk about, before we close, about something that was very disturbing that happened. I believe it happened yesterday. I got a video was sent to me from the newspapers, and they asked me had I seen this video. The video was about a child at the 9th grade academy being beaten to the ground. The child was literally being beaten by at least 10 to 15 other students. The security, it seems as though it took them forever to get there, and when they came, it was only one gentleman. I hope and pray that the child is all right, because we're not getting any information at all. I hope the child is all right. But the problem is, we're getting ready to go into the summer months. Our parents need to be more active. Our police need to be patrolling. I've never seen anything like this before. And if we don't do something to turn it around, it's not going to get any better. And anybody and everybody can say that they have the answer. But when you see a child getting beat like that in the middle of the day, in broad daylight, and only one teacher comes to their aid, and they take their time about coming, when it should be cameras all over the school, it is gut-wrenching. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. My heart goes out to the young man. My heart goes out to his family. I want to know. I have so many questions that I want answered. Where's the class 3 officers that are supposed to be at the school? Why did it take so long for the response? Have each and every child that participated in that brutal beating been identified? What is the school going to do? Is the child okay? Because the way it looked as if he could have a fractured skull or anything, the way they beat him. But you don't see anything about it. You don't hear anything about it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we need to get our priorities straight. We need to get our priorities straight because our children are first. Over every and anything, our children are first. Not that they should be, they are. We need to get it together. I hope and pray that all of you have a blessed Juneteenth. And for all of the fathers on the line, I hope you have a very, very pleasant Father's Day this year and sharing that quality time with your families as you have done throughout the year. Because I don't believe Father's Day is one day; it's every day, and that and I believe that. So I thank you all for again coming to this council and sharing your opinion, and I hope we all become active in our immediate community so that we can be able to stop some of this senselessness that is taking place in the streets of Trenton and in our neighborhoods. Thank you all. And Ms. Penny Carter, I would like to thank you again, and you may adjourn. I'll call for the adjournment of this meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.